My husband and my sister were truly in love. To defy society's judgment, they drank pesticide together right in front of me. Only after my husband's death did I discover he had left me with massive debts. Just as I worked myself to death paying off the debts, my husband miraculously came back to life, with my sister by his side. My sister giggled behind her hand. Big brother was right. You really are a fool. Only then did I realize that what they drank that day was actually cola. My husband and sister faked their deaths just to trick me into paying their debts, so they could live carefree lives. Given a second chance at life, I beat them to the punch by spiking their cola with real pesticide. Sis, what we have is real love. You've had him all to yourself for so long. Can't you just let him go now? Suwon clutched Gu Jinji's hand tightly, her face pale with fear as she stared at me. If Gu Jinji weren't my husband, I might have actually applauded her bold pursuit of love. Gu Jinji frowned, shielding her behind him, his eyes filled with unmistakable annoyance as he looked at me. Sugwa, with all the admirers you have out there, one more or less means nothing to me, but one is different. I'm the only one she has. He sighed, his gaze softening so tenderly at Suwon it could have melted. Besides, she's your only sister. Would you really stand in the way of her happiness for life? My sacrifice is nothing, but can't you try to be a little less selfish? Hearing him spout such shameless words, I could barely contain my laughter. Just call it what it is, an affair. Why dress it up with fancy excuses? Seeing the mockery in my eyes, Suwon's eyes welled up with tears. My mother looked at her with pity, then turned to urge me. Gwa, just agree for your sister's sake. You're the older one. Don't fight over things with your little sister. My mom has always favored my younger sister over me. It's just because she's better at acting cute and more likable than I am. After my father passed away, our family lost its source of income. To ease my mother's burden, I made the decision to drop out of school and work to pay for my sister's tuition. After all these years of support, it seems a man is more important to you. The sister I raised with such care has turned out to be an ungrateful wretch. Watching my sister try to guilt-trip me right before my eyes, my heart finally turned completely cold. I forced a faint smile and said softly, in your dreams. Suwon pouted and burst into tears right in front of me. She and Gu Jinji exchanged a glance, each pulling a small vial from their pocket. I warned them coldly, think carefully, what matters more, love or your lives? Suwon shot me a pitying look, her tone dripping with condescension. Sis, love is priceless. How could you possibly understand what Jinji and I share? Before my mother could rush over to stop them, they clinked their vials and downed the contents in one go. Sister, are you satisfied now? We've both drunk the pesticide, we're as good as dead. Since we can't be together in this life, let's become star-crossed lovers in death. At least this will finally please your eyes. She and Gu Jinji embraced in a passionate kiss, then turned to give me a triumphant smile. My mother's trembling hands picked up the bottle from the floor, her face ashen as she burst into tears. How could you drink pesticide, my poor daughter? They echoed each other, making it seem like I was the one who caused their demise. This guilt-tripping tactic isn't the first time they've used it on me. I lowered my head to hide the smile on my face. Since they've chosen to ignore my final warning, I'll just wish them the future they deserve. Little did those three suspect that the cola they just drank had been laced with real pesticide by me. In my past life, Suwon also threatened to drink pesticide to force me into divorcing Gu Jinji. Fearing she might actually go through with it, I hesitated only briefly before immediately agreeing. Unfortunately, I was too late and could only watch helplessly as they drank the pesticide, intending to die together. I couldn't face my mother who was constantly in tears, having spent what little savings remained to pay for their medical treatment, yet within days, they still passed away. From that day on, I became the guilty one. Verbal abuse and physical beatings became routine, and my mother even branded me a murderer, spreading rumors everywhere that I had driven my sister to her death. Everyone despises me, treating me like a curse. Along with the news of Gu Jin's death came the staggering debt he left behind. As his lawful wife, I was forced to inherit his debts, leaving me no choice but to work day and night to pay them off. The relentless toil has completely worn down my health, yet I can't bring myself to spend money on medical care. Just as I was lying in bed waiting to die, Gu Jinji and Suwon, who should have been long gone, miraculously came back to life. Suwon looked at my emaciated body with disgust, covering her mouth as she giggled softly. Big brother was right, you really are a fool, but we have to thank you, sis, for paying off all our debts. Only then did I realize that what they drank back then wasn't pesticide at all. It was carefully prepared cola. They faked their deaths to escape, leaving me alone to shoulder their debts and despair and wait for death. The first thing I did when I got back was to mix insecticide into their sodas. Didn't they want to be a pair of star-crossed lovers? As her dear sister, of course I had to grant their wish. Suwon covered her throat, coughing weakly, and looked at me with a pitiful expression. In the past, whenever she put on this pitiful look, I would always soften up and give in to her every demand without question. She's always known exactly how to push my buttons, but now I've seen her true colors, and seeing her act like this just makes me sick. Seeing me still standing there unmoved, Suwon stomped her foot in frustration and stormed out. Gu Jinji immediately followed after them, completely disregarding me as his wife. My mother stormed over to me in a rage and slapped me right across the face. Are you satisfied with what you've done to your sister? I never should have given birth to a monster like you. I swallowed the metallic taste of blood in my mouth and slapped my mother right back. My mother froze in shock, dumbfoundedly covering her face, completely unable to believe I would commit such an outrageous act. How dare you hit me, you little brat. Get out and kneel outside the door. Let all the neighbors see how disgraceful you are. Not only did you try to harm your sister's husband, but now you even dare to hit me. I glanced at her, somewhat amused, and said, this house belongs to me. What right do you have to tell me to get out? If anyone should get out, it's you. That night, Suwon came back fuming and accused me of bullying her mother. I glanced at her and couldn't help but laugh at myself. I worked myself to the bone to support these two leeches. Yet they'd sacrifice me for some man without a second thought. In that case, I have no reason to keep indulging them. Seeing my cold demeanor, Suwon sobbed again and began playing the victim. Sis, I'm dying. How can you treat me like this at a time like this? I sneered. What do I care if you die? You took the medicine yourself. Nobody forced you. If you regret it, you should have gone to the hospital instead of putting on this pathetic act in front of me. Suwon didn't expect me to call her out so bluntly, and her face flushed with alternating shades of red and pale. She only knows how to threaten me with death. That might have worked in a past life, but now I just regret not being the one to end her myself. Suwon fell silent for a moment, then suddenly looked up at me with a glint of malice in her eyes. Chapter 2, You'll regret this, sister. I raised an eyebrow. What tricks could a princess raised in a greenhouse possibly have? To dare boast so boldly that I'll regret it. I felt an inexplicable urge to laugh. Suwon is quite attractive, and with my help, she caught the wave of internet popularity and became a minor influencer. Through my dedicated efforts, I've now amassed nearly 300,000 followers. Late at night, Suwon posted a short video behind my back. In the picture, she and Gu Jinji are locked in an intimate embrace, gazing into each other's eyes as if no one else exists. Anyone who sees it would say they're a perfect match, a true power couple. A small caption was added below the image. If lovers cannot be together, it's better to meet in the afterlife. As soon as the video was posted, countless fans flooded her comment section to check on her. Suwon seized the moment to post a picture of the two empty pesticide bottles and immediately started a live stream. The live stream had just started when 100,000 viewers flooded in. Suwon's eyes were red-rimmed as she bowed to the camera, her voice hoarse. Thank you for your concern, but my time is running out. Though isn't dying with the one you love its own kind of happiness. Please don't cyberbully my sister. She may have just wanted to profit from me, but I know she always cared deep down. She turned to look at Gu Jinji sitting beside her, then nestled affectionately into his arms, like a delicate white lotus seeking its only shelter. It instantly made all netizens feel a surge of pity. The comments section exploded instantly. What the hell is wrong with that damn sister? How dare she drive our Wanwan to take pills? That woman is practically a murderer. She just can't stand seeing our Wanwan find true love. Is she mentally disturbed or something? The vile insults from netizens kept pouring in, and Suwon's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. I never expected her to be so shameless, using the very things I gave her against me. A few netizens occasionally spoke up for me, but the moment they questioned why Gu Jinji, who isn't my husband, was so intimate with her, they were immediately swarmed by a bunch of rabid fans. Gu Jinji held Suwon's hand tightly as they both declared in the livestream that true love conquers all. A flood of comments from netizens cheered them on. I rubbed my throbbing temples and hit the report button without hesitation. Since when do cheating scumbags and homewreckers have the nerve to be so brazen? Are they literally asking for trouble? Thankfully, I got a second chance at life. Soon enough, Suwon's livestream got shut down. Even the flood of gifts that fans had just showered on their true love were forcibly refunded by the platform. They worked hard all night but didn't earn a single penny. I had just closed my laptop and was about to rest when the bedroom door was suddenly kicked open. Sugwa. Open the damn door. Stop hiding in there like a coward. Was it you who reported her? Wanwan is crying now. Go apologize to her immediately. Gu Jinji's furious voice reached me through the door. Is he here to seek justice for his little mistress? I swung the door open and met Gu Jinji's gaze directly. He frowned, grabbed my arm to pull me outside, but I shook him off forcefully. My voice turned icy cold. Don't forget. You're still my husband. This counts as cheating. Who was it that pulled you out of the mud back then? And this is how you repay me. When I first met Gu Jinji, he had both legs broken by thugs, huddled alone on a hospital chair with no money for treatment. It was me who scraped together the money to save his life. At the time, Suwon even mocked me for being foolish enough to save a complete stranger. Looking back now, she was absolutely right. Gu Jinji froze for a split second, then continued speaking with flustered indignation. So what? Even if you saved my life, my heart has always belonged to Wanwan. Perhaps due to the intense emotional turmoil, his face turned pale as he covered his mouth and coughed painfully twice. I looked down at him with disdain and said, you should go to the hospital. But Gu Jinji wouldn't listen to reason and reflexively argued back. What do you know? Even if it means dying with Wanwan, I'd do it willingly. I nodded. Then glanced at Suwon standing triumphantly by the doorway and smiled with resignation. I gave them a chance. Since they refused to listen to reason, they've left me no choice but to end them. Since childhood, Suwon has been obsessed with taking what's mine, whether it was our mother's affection or my husband's love. If she saw it, she'd steal it. Watching the things I cherish slip away one by one gave her a twisted sense of satisfaction. I don't understand why the sister I worked so hard to raise turned out like this. The next morning, as soon as I got up, I saw my mother sitting in the living room with a dark expression. When she saw me, she spoke in a sarcastic tone. Took you long enough to get up. Were you trying to starve us to death? My mom is retired and stays at home, while Suwon is still in school. Gu Jinji used the excuse of accompanying Suwon to quit his job early. I'm the only one in this entire family who's working, and I'm also responsible for preparing all their meals. I took a deep breath and was just about to speak when Gu Jinji's panicked voice came from inside the room. Mom, come quick. It looks like Wanwan is having an episode. My mother staggered and rushed into her bedroom. Chapter 3. Suwon lay on the bed with a pale face, clutching her stomach as she coughed uncontrollably. When she saw me follow her in, a mocking smile appeared on her face. Sister, are you satisfied seeing me in such a pathetic state? Gu Jinji held her in his arms with tears streaming down his face, their fingers intertwined. But I knew all of this was just an act they were putting on for my benefit. Even if Suwon had ingested pesticide, she was only in the early to middle stages. She would never look this pathetic. I sighed, picked up the lipstick from her desk, and smashed it violently on the floor. Suwon's eyes widened in shock as she cried out, Sugwa, how dare you throw my things? I looked at her with an innocent expression. Well, you're going to die anyway. I'm just being considerate by sending these things down ahead of time to keep you company. Suwon pointed a trembling finger at me, too furious to utter a single word. Her most prized possessions were her cosmetics and designer bags, which nearly filled half her room. Under her devastated gaze, I smashed and tore each one of them to pieces on the floor. Suwon finally couldn't hold on any longer, wailing as she rushed over and clutched her bag to her chest. Sis, I'm fine. Stop smashing it. Gu Jinji and my mother exchanged glances, looking somewhat embarrassed. After all, the elaborate scheme they had carefully set up for me was so easily exposed. I looked at the two of them with amusement. Seems like I'm quite the miracle doctor, curing my sister so effortlessly. They averted their gaze, unable to meet my eyes. Suwon glared at me fiercely. Sugwa, you're so selfish. No wonder Jinji doesn't like you. You're utterly domineering. Why are you still clinging to him and refusing to let go? I raised an eyebrow slightly and crouched down to look at her. I agree to the divorce. Suwon looked up at me in disbelief, and as I repeated the words in her ear, she shot Gu Jinji an excited glance. I noticed Gu Jinji hesitating. After all, if they really divorced, his debts wouldn't fall on me. I pushed Suwon further, and with red-rimmed eyes, she pleaded, you won't abandon me, will you, sis? I smiled. Of course not. Suwon immediately stood up, linked her arm with mine, and eagerly pulled me toward the Civil Affairs Bureau. Noticing Gu Jinji's hesitation, she cooed, Jinji, even though you and my sister are divorced, my business is her business, you can rest assured. With Suwon's reassurance, Gu Jinji finally let go of his worries. The moment the divorce certificate was in hand, Suwon couldn't wait to finalize the marriage registration with Gu Jinji. She smiled gratefully and said, sis, thank you for letting me have Jinji, and I thank you for taking on Gu Jinji's astronomical debt in my place. After getting married, the couple flaunted their love on live streams. Their forbidden romance, deemed unacceptable by conventional standards, was hailed by some teenagers as a symbol of anti-feudal rebellion. Thanks to their striking looks, their fame grew by the day. And their earnings multiplied. Viewers in the livestream were all concerned about their health, suggesting they get a checkup, but Suwon couldn't have cared less. Love can conquer all. It's just a bit of pesticide, nothing to worry about. Right there in front of countless viewers, the two swore they would never set foot in a hospital. I sat quietly by, watching them dig their own graves. Their health had been gradually deteriorating during this period. But both were so blinded by their sudden wealth that they paid no attention to it. They simply dismissed it as a common cold and casually took some medicine to brush it off. After Suwon and Gu Jinji got married, they completely let loose and would flaunt their love in front of me every now and then. But I just turned a blind eye, not getting the reaction she wanted. Suwon snorted coldly and warned me, "Sis, don't even think about trying to steal Jinji back." I glanced up at her. Only a fool like her would fall for such a scumbag. A while back, I secretly took Gu Jinji's ID and took out a huge loan in his name, which kinda makes up for all the time I've wasted over the years. Now Gu Jinji's busy hanging out with Suwon every day. He probably has no idea his debt has multiplied. Oh, by the way, Suwon's eyes curved into a smile as she said coyly, "Jinji and I are getting married in 3 days. You'll come to our wedding, won't you, sis?" Little did she know whether the two of them would still be holding up by then. At the wedding banquet, Suwon invited a bunch of her dubious friends and played the big shot by refusing all monetary gifts. This left Gu Jinji, who had been counting on the gift money to cover some debts, slightly annoyed, but he bit his tongue and held it in. When I first met Gu Jinji, both his parents had remarried, and neither was willing to support him financially. I advised Gu Jinji to cut ties with them to avoid enabling their parasitic behavior, and he obediently followed my advice. But now, his parents are sitting right there, glaring at me with clear displeasure. It turns out Gu Jinji had already reconnected with them behind my back. In the end, I'm the one who ended up pleasing no one. I lowered my gaze and took a sip of tea. He brought this upon himself. And I have no reason to waste my emotions on someone who isn't worth it. Suwon walked gracefully onto the stage in her custom-made wedding dress, but even the heaviest makeup couldn't conceal the lifelessness in her face. I watched as she and Gu Jinji exchanged rings, shared a passionate kiss, and then both turned their gaze toward me. "Sis, thanks for stepping aside and letting me have Jinji. You'll bless our everlasting love, won't you?" She gazed at me with those big, watery eyes, feigning innocence. After all, what we have is true love, isn't it? Under the glare of countless lights, guests whispered among themselves while staring at me. Anyone with eyes could see Suwon was deliberately humiliating me, yet not a single soul stepped forward to speak up for me. I smoothed my hair and looked at this foolish younger sister standing before me. Little does she know, I've specially prepared a wedding gift just for her today. She'll remember this for the rest of her life. Before she could bask in her triumph for long, a bunch of thugs with menacing faces stormed in. "That bastard Gu Jinji has money for a wedding. Why can't he pay back what he owes? Pay back what you owe." The moment he saw them, Gu Jinji's beaming face instantly turned pale. He scrambled backward in panic, but the man leading the group still spotted him. "Gu Jinji, if you don't pay up today, damn it, I'll have my boys camp right here. Let's see how you're gonna pull off this wedding." Just as I expected after tipping them off, they came to collect debts after all. Too bad those two have always been big spenders. Now they're flat broke, and getting money from them is like trying to squeeze water from a stone. As the murmurs from the guests around grew louder, Suwon gritted her teeth and looked at me with a pitiful expression. Shamelessly, she blurted out, "Go ask my sister for money, she's loaded." I quickly waved my hands and said, "Sorry, but as his ex-wife, I have absolutely nothing to do with the money he owes." Suwon stared at me wide-eyed in disbelief, and I just shrugged at her. She's pulled this last-minute backtracking move plenty of times herself. Besides, I'm not about to play the fool a second time. The debt collectors lost their patience. At their leader's command, his underlings began smashing the tables. The wedding hall was filled with continuous screams. Suwon was so enraged that she coughed up blood. Staring at the crimson pool on the floor, she froze in place. The next second, amid my mother's shrieks, she clutched her stomach and collapsed into unconsciousness. "It's hopeless, her organs have already failed. Even with resuscitation, she wouldn't survive." The moment Suwon opened her eyes, the doctor delivered her death sentence. The doctor sighed regretfully. "Why on earth would you drink pesticide? If only you'd come in a few days earlier. There might still have been hope." Before he could finish, Suwon screamed, cutting him off, "That's bullshit. What pesticide? I never drank any." It was just cola. Her eyes bloodshot, she turned aside and vomited blood, unable to contain her overwhelming agitation, slightly darkened, giving off a foul and unpleasant stench. I covered my nose and took a step back. Gujinji, with trembling hands, stopped the doctor who was shaking his head and about to leave. I think I might have taken the medicine too. The doctor frowned and took him along for a checkup. The test results came out, and it was a death sentence for him too. I watched the two of them, each lying on a hospital bed looking utterly devastated, and couldn't help but chuckle behind my hand. Sis, didn't you two drink pesticide back then? You've always wanted to be a pair of star-crossed lovers. Shouldn't you be happy now that you're finally dying together? My words seemed to ignite a fuse. Gujinji struggled off the bed and grabbed Suwon by the throat, snarling, "You bitch, did you actually give me the real drug?" Suwon fought desperately, her face streaked with tears of terror. "That's impossible. I clearly swapped it with cola. I don't know how this could have happened." Gujinji was nothing but a selfish scoundrel to begin with. Now that his life is in danger, he's just blaming everyone else for everything, even his former lover. My mom screamed and rushed forward, shoving Gujinji away. "She's your wife. How could you lay a hand on her?" Gujinji was already physically weak, and with that push, he fell to the ground in a pathetic heap, clutching his head in pain. He let out a cry, but his eyes remained fixed on Suwon. His parents exchanged a glance, then furiously lunged at my mother and started brawling with her. "Who gave you the right to hit my son? Who do you think you are?" My mother was completely overpowered and couldn't fight back. She looked desperately at Suwon for help, but Suwon stumbled out of bed without even glancing her way. "This is wrong, all wrong. This has to be a mistake." Suwon clutched desperately at my pants, her face streaked with tears. "Sis, this is all just a dream, right?" I put away my phone that had been recording and raised an eyebrow at her. Won, this is all real. But don't worry about dying soon." I gestured with my chin toward Gujinji on the ground. "You've still got your true love. Didn't she claim that true love could conquer all? So why is she crying and saying she regrets it now?" After the hospital incident, Suwon and Gujinji's relationship hit rock bottom. The couple completely turned against each other, and both sets of parents even got into physical fights. I made sure to record their true colors at the hospital and uploaded it to my account right away. When they were faking illness, they were widely regarded as the picture-perfect couple. They even went viral online thanks to their outrageous remarks. Now that the truth is out in the open, their first instinct when facing consequences was to point fingers at each other. Netizens realized they'd been played for fools, leading to a massive wave of fans turning against them. The brand also took a hardline stance, demanding contract termination and penalty payments. Unfortunately, Suwon and Gujinji were too overwhelmed with their own troubles to deal with this mess. Despite their relationship falling apart, they still managed to get their marriage certificate. But now, that bright red marriage certificate feels more like a death warrant. Watching Gujinji's personality change drastically, all his previous gentleness vanished without a trace. Suwon came to me in tears, begging for help. Unfortunately, there was nothing I could do. She was the one who wanted to get married before, and now she's the one crying and making a scene to get a divorce. Who has the patience to play house with her? Their health deteriorated rapidly, with severe hair loss and insomnia, until they became little more than living skeletons. They lived in constant fear, spending each day blaming one another. I saw none of that composed, love-driven readiness to die they had shown during their earlier live streams, in a desperate bid to prolong their lives. They began taking handfuls of medication, but it was too little, too late. After their heated argument spiraled out of control, Gujinji finally came to see me, but this time, the light in his eyes was gone. "Guagua, I know I was wrong. Now that I'm dying, I've finally come to understand my true feelings." His voice choked with emotion as he tried to grab my hand, but I shook him off in disgust. He looked at me with wounded eyes. "Guagua, please, give me another chance. I'm begging you to save me. Sell this apartment to pay for my treatment. I swear to you, baby, I'll treat you right once I recover." It all boils down to him just trying to sweet-talk me into selling the house for his medical bills. How shameless does he have to be to say these things? My past leniency only led to his repeated betrayals. I have no intention of helping him again now. I looked helplessly behind him and said, "If I sell the house to give you money, what will happen to Wan?" Gujinji exclaimed excitedly. "She doesn't matter." How convenient that she doesn't matter. Watching Suwon's venomous glare from the corner, I couldn't help but laugh. Forget it. Just rely on true love to conquer everything. Both sets of parents paid a fortune to a wandering monk for a miraculous pill, said to cure all ailments with a single dose. Pity there's only one such pill in the entire world. I have no faith in this medicine. Yet Gu Jinji and Suwon saw it as their only lifeline. Suwon knelt before Gu Jinji, clutching his legs and weeping as if her heart would break. Jinji, didn't you say you love me more than anything in this world? Then give me this pill. My illness is worse than yours. Once I recover, I swear I'll find another cure for you. Gu Jinji kicked her away and snarled, if it weren't for your damn idea of drinking pesticide, I wouldn't be in this mess. This antidote is mine alone, don't even think about it. As the two were about to come to blows again, their parents grew even more tense and hostile. I suggested a brilliant idea. Since talking got us nowhere, we should draw lots. Whoever draws the higher number gets the antidote, the lower one waits to die. Leave it to fate. Chapter 4. They couldn't settle the dispute, so they had to go with my idea in the end. I deliberately prepared 2 identical paper slips and tossed them on the table. Suwon snatched one first, while Gu Jinji grumbled under his breath and reluctantly took the other. But as he unfolded the paper, a look of ecstasy spread across Gu Jinji's face. He smoothed out the crumpled note, revealing a large number 6 that caught everyone's attention. Before he could utter a word, the silent Suwon swiftly snatched the antidote box from the table. While everyone was still processing what happened, she immediately took out the antidote and swallowed it. Gu Jinji's smile froze on his face. After a long moment, he let out a desperate roar and pinned Suwon to the ground, beating her mercilessly. Suwon shielded her head, yet a twisted smile spread across her face. Didn't you say you loved Sugwa? Then go to hell alone with your love. My mother burst out laughing on the side, completely ignoring the murderous glares from Gu Jinji's parents. Watching the farce unfold before me, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. All that talk about true love conquering all, and now you turn around and abandon it just to save your own skin. When it comes down to it, both of them are equally hypocritical. In a way, they really are perfect for each other. Seeing Suwon nearly beaten to death, I kindly called the police. After all, I hadn't seen enough of the show yet. I didn't want her to die so easily, although Suwon was badly beaten. It's unclear whether that pill actually worked. Her complexion grew rosier day by day, and she even seemed to be in much better health. In stark contrast to her stood Gu Jinji. After Suwon took his only life-saving medicine, his already strained nerves snapped completely, his health deteriorated rapidly, leaving him at death's door. Suwon paid him several hypocritical visits, only to be shouted at and driven away each time. As he lay dying, his parents came knocking again, this time with an utterly outrageous demand. They must carry on Gu Jinji's bloodline. After all, both families split the cost of the medicine equally. Since Suwon took it, she owes them a child by every measure of decency. With a grandchild, their son's death wouldn't be in vain, or she could pay back the money. Hearing their calculating minds at work, I couldn't help but feel sorry for Gu Jinji. Even on his deathbed, his parents didn't grant him a shred of freedom. My mother's last bit of retirement savings was completely drained by Suwon, leaving her without a penny to spare. No matter how unwilling she was, Suwon had no choice but to show up obediently. After just one night with Gu Jinji, he coughed up blood and passed out. His parents tearfully rushed him to the hospital, but he drew his last breath before they even got there. Just like that, Gu Jinji was gone. Suwon breathed a sigh of relief. That very evening, she went live again. Suwon was still trying to milk sympathy for clout, just like before, but I had already leaked the video of her snatching the antidote that rightfully belonged to Gu Jinji. All that talk about going down together, and now she's terrified of dying. The rose-tinted glasses shattered, and suddenly she became public enemy number 1. She was even reported by angry netizens and forced to deactivate her account. Suwon was so furious she smashed her phone. While I stood by the doorway watching her meltdown, there's never been a cure for pesticide poisoning. I don't believe there's any single cure-all in this world. After Gu Jinji's death, as his legal wife, Suwon was forced to inherit all of his debts. But she couldn't come up with a single penny. Shamelessly, Suwon even tried to ask for the wedding dowry back, only to be blocked by her so-called friends, leaving her fuming and stomping around at home. Debt collectors showed up at her door every day. She had planned to hole up at my place and never come out, but I had already sold the house behind her back. When the new owner showed up, she and my mother were forced out of their home. Suwon finally dropped the act and publicly accused me of having no conscience. It's just a shame everyone present could see right through it. They had already heard of Suwon, so they just saw it as a joke. No one was on her side. And the debt collectors turned violent, blocking her on the streets every day, even threatening to sell her to northern Myanmar. Suwon was on edge all day, her mind in a daze. With no other choice, Suwon secretly took the last of my mother's money and fled under the cover of night. When my mom realized what had happened, she collapsed to the floor in stunned disbelief. Suwon had planned to sneak abroad to escape her debts, But the moment she arrived at the airport, her whole body convulsed and she fainted on the spot. Fortunately, a kind-hearted stranger took her to the hospital. By the time I rushed to the hospital, her face was deathly pale with dark circles under her eyes. Lying in bed, they were on the brink of death. It looked like they didn't have much time left. Chapter 5. How is this possible? I took the medicine. How could it not have worked? She stared at me in terror, speaking with a tone of unwilling resignation. I pulled out my phone and showed it to her, sighing, that was no antidote. The monk who sold you that medicine got arrested for fraud yesterday. What he sold you were just mud pills. How could you not have tasted the difference? At my words, Suwon stared at me blankly. Her eyes were empty, her lips quivered slightly, but no words came out. She had been so happy all this time, even at the cost of her lover's life, yet in the end, her illness was never cured at all. Suwon covered her face and finally broke down in tears. Even if she regrets it now, it's too late to change anything. They drank the pesticide themselves. I didn't force them. I sighed and walked out of the ward without looking back, ignoring her calls behind me. A few days later, my friend broke the news of Suwon's death to me. My mother went to claim her body in tears, only to be blocked at the door by debt collectors. With Suwon gone, her mother was left to inherit her daughter's staggering debts. At 65 years old, my mother is now at the perfect age to spend her remaining years paying off debts. I gazed out the window, feeling the warm sunlight gently envelop me. I stretched lazily, unable to suppress a smile that crinkled the corners of my eyes. Divine justice is clear and inevitable. Karma always comes full circle. Story 2. Reborn on the day I was adopted, my sister knelt before the tycoon, pleading, "Please adopt my younger sister. I don't mind living in hardship, but I want her to have a better life." In our past life, she pulled every string to get adopted by the billionaire, but soon after, the tycoon went bankrupt while my adoptive parents became the new millionaires. So now she wants a do-over. Little did she know, I was born under a lucky star. Wherever I go, prosperity follows. What she never realized was how long I'd waited for this moment. 1. The instant my twin sister knelt begging the Lin family to adopt me, I knew she'd been reborn too. At age 5, I lost both parents in an accident and we were sent to an orphanage to fend for ourselves. When I was 8, the town's wealthiest man came to adopt a girl. He chose me, but my sister locked me in a closet and took my place in the Lin family. Later, the Lin family went bankrupt due to mismanagement, drowning in debt. My sister's stolen golden ticket vanished just like that. Ironically, that's when my adoptive parents struck it rich, consumed by jealousy. She deliberately ran me over in a fit of rage. Waking up again, this was the scene before me. My sister knelt on the ground, tears streaming down her face as she pleaded. My little sister just got a bit too playful and locked herself in the cabinet. She doesn't mean to refuse you. Please, give her another chance. Take her in, I beg you. Mrs. Lin was deeply moved by my sister's words. She nodded at me and said, "You should thank your sister. If you keep hiding from us like this, we'll have to take her instead." I watched my sister sob uncontrollably, a triumphant smile playing on my lips. She thought she had a do-over in life, but little did she know, I'd been waiting for this day for a very long time. After all, my adoptive parents from my previous life were anything but kind, and a fortune teller had told me right at birth that I was a born koi, meaning prosperity and wealth would follow wherever I went. I followed the Lin family to their luxurious villa. The Lins were wonderful people with kind hearts, renowned philanthropists in Rongqing. They adopted me purely out of compassion to help those in need, not because they couldn't have children of their own, unlike my previous adoptive parents who only took me in from the orphanage after failing to conceive, then miraculously had a biological son afterward, beneath their picture-perfect facade. My life became a living hell from that moment on. Now it's my sister's turn to enjoy herself. Is this really my little sister? A handsome boy gazed at me with delight. I knew him, though adopted by different families. Both my sister and I grew up in Rongqing and later attended the same high school. My sister and this boy Lin Zimo were campus celebrities. Everyone knew they were the children of the wealthiest family, and with Zimo being so handsome while utterly doting on my sister, the whole school envied her for having such a perfect big brother. I used to envy her too. All I had was a demonic younger brother who'd gladly see me dead, too. Big brother, I cooed sweetly. Lin Zimo took my hand with a radiant smile. From now on, I'll protect you. No one will ever bully you again. My nose stung with unshed tears. This was the familial warmth I'd never experienced before. In my past life, my sister cut ties with the Lin family immediately after their bankruptcy, never showing gratitude even when they left her an escape route during their darkest days. Worse still, after squandering everything, she played the victim card everywhere, fabricating stories about the Lin family's mistreatment just to gain online sympathy and clout. I swear, in this lifetime I'll not only reclaim my own destiny, but also protect the Lin family with everything I've got. I quickly adapted to life with the Lin family. Only after living with them did I truly understand how extraordinary they really are. Mr. and Mrs. Lin treated me as their own, showering me with even more care than their biological son. Terrified of making me feel slighted, Lin Zimo wasn't jealous at all. In fact, he doted on me like his own little sister. I still can't fathom how my sister could have been so heartless to the Lin family, who were such good people, letting them be unjustly cyberbullied after they'd already suffered bankruptcy. Even now, recalling it fills me with pain and anger. That year, in our first year of high school, my sister and I met as expected on campus. The difference is, in our past life we were both in the honors class, but this time my sister ended up in the regular track. She probably figured studying was pointless anyway. Striking it rich through family was the real game changer. Since my twin sister and I look nearly identical, it naturally sparked curiosity among our classmates. I never denied our sibling connection, but when word got back to her, she totally flipped out. She came to my classroom and declared in front of everyone, "Lin Qianqian, ever since you were adopted by the wealthiest family, I've never tried to climb the social ladder through you, nor have you ever offered me help. You weren't there when I needed you most, and now I don't want your sudden attempts to get close." Fine. I agreed without hesitation, according to how things unfolded in my past life. The Lin family had already begun their decline during high school. My sister's righteous speech in front of everyone was just a ploy to shame me from seeking her help later. In my previous life after the Lin family went bankrupt, my sister came to me for help. She even proposed swapping identities. She wanted to take my place with my adoptive parents. We were already 22 at that time. That idea was ridiculous to begin with, completely impossible. Besides, my life isn't exactly great. And I don't want her getting mixed up in my mess. My well-intentioned refusal, however, only provoked her furious retaliation. A fierce anger suddenly flared within me, but I bit my tongue and kept it hidden. Anyway, her troubles were about to come thick and fast. 3. You'd better keep your word. After getting my affirmative answer, my sister dropped that line and turned to leave. Just as I reached the classroom door, I bumped into Lin Zimo, who had come to find me for lunch. My sister froze for a second when she saw Lin Zimo. The classmates were whispering among themselves, "Wow, Lin Qianqian's brother is so handsome." Lin Zimo escorts Lin Qianqian to class every morning and picks her up after school. Her brother is truly amazing. If I had a brother who's rich, handsome, and this caring, I'd be grinning in my sleep. I could tell my sister's expression had soured considerably. After all, she was the one who used to enjoy all these things, but the very next moment, a wicked smile crept onto her lips. She probably figured the Lin family was going to go bankrupt anyway, so none of this mattered to her. But did she really not have even a shred of doubt? In my previous life, my adoptive parents are now showing signs of striking it rich. Based on my private investigations over the years, my adoptive parents didn't have any more children after adopting my sister, so her life with them wasn't as miserable as mine had been, though it certainly wasn't great. My adoptive father was a terrible drunk. He became violent when intoxicated, and my sister inevitably bore the brunt of his beatings. In my previous life, my adoptive parents also got lucky with urban redevelopment, hitting the jackpot. They then expanded their small hot pot restaurant, opening more and more branches, eventually turning it into a chain and then a recognized brand. The annual franchise fees from across the country brought in a substantial income, but now, there's no demolition, and the hot pot restaurant hasn't expanded either. Did my sister really think wealth would just fall from the sky? All this indirectly proves my lucky charm status, but, looking back, this blessing turned out to be a double-edged sword. Otherwise, my former foster parents wouldn't have had more children, and I wouldn't have suffered even more inhuman abuse because of it. Otherwise, my foster parents wouldn't have become so wealthy. Their money only made them more monstrous. All I hope now is that my sister's suffering isn't much lighter than mine. Naturally, with her personality, she probably didn't fare much better anyway, because she's never satisfied. Once she realizes my adoptive parents won't become rich, she'll go insane, but this time, I absolutely won't let her get away with it. I'll make her pay a heavy, painful price. 4. My sister's declaration about keeping her distance and cutting ties with me quickly spread throughout the school. Her classmates spoke highly of her, praising her integrity for refusing to bow to wealth and status. My sister became even more smug, boasting everywhere that she'd rather be a beggar than ever rely on me. Because of my sister's behavior, I became the target of criticism. People saw me as ungrateful. I didn't explain myself, nor did I need to. My sister's about to get a reality check real soon. Lin Zimo wasn't having any of these school rumors though. He went straight to confront my sister. When I heard classmates say Lin Zimo and my sister were on the rooftop, I rushed up there too. I can't stand seeing Lin Zimo involved with my sister again. Back when his family went bankrupt, he still scraped together money to buy her that designer bag she wanted for her birthday. And what happened? My sister wasn't the least bit grateful. She actually went online and spread vicious rumors. She claimed that after joining the Lin family, Lin Zimo would frequently harass her in private, and that the family turned a blind eye to it. A man as noble, refined, and morally upright as Lin Zimo was literally driven to suicide by cyberbullying. On the rooftop, I heard Lin Zimo sternly warn my sister, Wang Cici, "Stop spreading nonsense at school. Chan isn't that kind of person at all. If you keep spreading rumors, don't blame me for what happens next. Lin Zimo, do you treat everyone this nicely?" My sister shot him an intensely sarcastic look. Lin Zimo completely missed the implication behind her words, but I understood perfectly. Lin Zimo was just as good to my sister in our previous life. No matter how indifferent she is to Lin Zimo now, my sister, with her envious nature, wouldn't be able to stand him being good to me either, you know. Sometimes good intentions go unrewarded, my sister said maliciously. She was clearly talking about herself. When you've lost everything, do you really think Lin Qianqian will stick around? She won't spare a single thought for the past. Believe me, my sister's face was a mask of mockery, and it felt like that day was just around the corner, and she seemed almost eager for it. Do you really think Qianqian is as ungrateful as you are? Lin Zimo said, his voice cold. I saw a flicker of panic on my sister's face. For a split second, she probably thought Lin Zimo had also been reborn. The truth is, I lived with Lin Zimo for 8 years, and I knew perfectly well that he was just casually throwing a jab at her. I'm just kindly reminding you, but you'll find out soon enough anyway. My sister, of course, wasn't foolish enough to lay all her cards on the table. She sneered. After all, you're about to face some serious bad luck. You're talking about yourself. Lin Zimo was completely unfazed by my sister's threats. Wang Cici, I'm telling you one last time, if you dare to spread rumors and slander Qianqian again, I'll make sure you regret it immensely. Lin Zimo, actually, I do have a bit of a soft spot for you. My sister didn't take Lin Zimo's words seriously at all, even gloatingly adding, if you start treating me well now, just like you treat Lin Qianqian, I might even consider helping you out when you're in deep trouble. 5. Lin Zimo stared at my sister, dumbfounded, as if looking at an idiot. Lin Zimo, that's enough. My sister was provoked by Lin Zimo's gaze as well. Are you out of your mind? Lin Qianqian is my sister. Of course I'm good to her. You and I have no connection whatsoever. So why should I be good to you? Wang Cici, no matter how thick-skinned you are, you can't be this shameless. You. My sister's face turned green after Lin Zimo's words. She said viciously, I gave you a chance. But you threw it away. From now on, even if you beg me on your knees, it won't do you any good. Crazy. Lin Zimo was utterly speechless. He probably hadn't seen anyone so shameless in his entire life. I no longer needed to hide. I stepped out. I had been staying out of sight to observe Lin Zimo's attitude towards my sister. Seeing his indifference towards her, I breathed a sigh of relief. I was truly afraid he'd be deceived by my sister again, just like in our previous life. Luckily, while the Lin family is kind, they're not without their limits. My past kindness towards my sister was simply a sense of responsibility. Since we adopted her, we were committed to taking care of her, no matter what happened in the family. But now, for someone who isn't even a blood relative, my sister's actions are nothing but self-humiliation. Bro, I cooed, looping my arm affectionately through his. Qianqian, what brings you here? The way my brother spoke to me was worlds apart from how he treated our sister. I could practically see the green-eyed monster glowing in my sister's stare. Heard you were on the rooftop, so I came looking. Don't be afraid, my brother shielded me. I promised I'd never let anyone hurt you. I gave Lin Zimo a sweet smile. Let's go then. I took Lin Zimo's hand and walked away. My sister's vicious glare burned into our backs. No need to guess she was plotting to make us suffer once she struck it rich. The New Year's Eve gala for our freshman year, Lin Zimo and I performed a piano piece, a 4-hand duet. After the rehearsal, we walked off stage, hand in hand. Lin Zimo is a year older than me, in his second year of high school. His schedule is much tighter than mine, so he left right after the rehearsal. I wasn't in a hurry to leave. I waited for my deskmate, Wu Qian, to finish her rehearsal so we could go together. All the other waiting students gathered around me, full of envy and compliments. Wow, Qianqian, you and your brother are simply a perfect match. The two of you sitting there looked like a painting, absolutely stunning. Your parents are so lucky to have such outstanding children like you two. Qianqian's parents are the Lin family, the wealthiest in the country. The Lins are also renowned philanthropists. I've seen them on TV. The whole family is incredibly good-looking. Qianqian, that dress looks absolutely stunning on you. It must have cost a fortune, right? Suddenly, a classmate brought up my dress. I smiled and replied, yes, my mom had it custom-made for my New Year's performance. Is it embroidered? I nodded. Wow, so jealous. The whole class started cheering. Suddenly a classmate said, why does this dress look familiar to me? Yeah. Wang Cici has one too, right? Another classmate immediately recalled, she had a ballroom dance performance for New Year's, and I think she wore that exact dress. Look, here comes Wang Cici. All eyes turned in her direction. I saw Wang Cici approaching, wearing the exact same dress as me, with a confident, radiant expression. Her face visibly changed the moment she saw the dress I was wearing. Wang Cici, you're twinning with Lin Qianqian, the classmate pointed out with deliberate emphasis. 6. The other students quickly chimed in. Qianqian said this dress was a custom-made luxury brand from her mom. Is yours the same? Probably not. Who else but Qianqian could afford such an expensive dress anyway? I heard Wang Cici comes from a modest background. Her parents just run a small hot pot joint, and business isn't great. Then it's definitely a knockoff. Matching outfits aren't the issue. It's who's wearing the fake that's embarrassing. I saw my sister's face contorted with rage. Given my sister's current financial situation, there's no way she could afford the real deal, but in her past life, she grew up in the Lin family who spoiled her rotten. She owned every luxury imaginable, and this dress I'm wearing is indeed the same one she performed in during the New Year's Eve gala in her previous life. It absolutely stole the show that night. My sister naturally wanted to be the center of attention again this time. Little did she expect to run into me, her unexpected roadblock. I won't deny it, I did it on purpose. When Mrs. Lin took me dress shopping days ago, I deliberately picked this gown, knowing full well my sister would want it too, just to get under her skin. This is a grudge from a past life, and I remember it perfectly. I never would have thought my sister would actually buy a fake, but it doesn't really matter, knowing my sister's temper. There's no way she'd tolerate being mocked like this. Sure enough, I immediately heard my sister retort, who says it's fake? Got any proof? This dress costs tens of thousands. From what I know, since when could you afford that? Wu Qian sneered, adding, thought you were above material things. If money means nothing to you, why bother being so vain? Vain? What's wrong with buying a dress I like? Why can Lin Qianqian have it but not me? Because her family is rich. My family is rich too. And all this money came from my parents, my sister declared shamelessly. How is that possible? Why isn't it possible? Is the Lin family the only wealthy one in the world? Let me tell you, our family is the real dark horse. It won't be long before we become the new richest family in the country, my sister said, beaming with pride. As for you sycophants, you'll all be proven wrong, and it'll hit you hard. Wang Cici, who are you calling a simp? Wu Qian was about to get into a fight with my sister. I pulled her back. Getting into a fight at school would go on your record. My sister isn't the main concern here. But Wu Qian is my best friend, and I can't let her suffer because of my sister. Don't stoop to her level. I pulled Wu Qian aside, deliberately speaking loud enough for my sister to hear. She's just mad because she got caught. My sister glared at me, absolutely furious. She knew perfectly well that while others might not be able to tell if her dress was a fake, it was obvious to me, having grown up surrounded by luxury goods. The look she gave me could kill 1,000 times over. I knew karma would come for her. 7. On the night of the New Year's performance, my sister showed up backstage wearing the same designer gown as me. Again, the whispers started circulating among the classmates again. How dare she wear the same dress as Qianqian? Not only does she not look as good, but it's a knockoff too. Doesn't she have any shame? She used to be so principled, saying she'd never rely on Qianqian in her life. Now she's trying to compete with her, and with a fake. It's absolutely hilarious. My sister was furious. She threw the dress's tag and receipt into the crowd, yelling, "Open your damn eyes and look closely. This dress is authentic. I bought it from the official store." The students quickly looked at the documents my sister had thrown. Everyone exchanged glances, completely unsure of what to make of it. After all, they had no idea if it was real or fake. Qianqian, take a look. Is this real? Wu Qian asked me. No need to look, it's real. I looked at the dress my sister was wearing. I just need to see her dress to know this one's authentic. And by the way, the last one was fake. Wang Cici, where did you get the money? This dress costs over 30,000. Wu Qian looked at her, disbelieving. Now you know what it's like to be looked down on, don't you? My sister was practically gloating. I told you my family is a dark horse. Of course, this money came from my parents. And in the future, they'll only give me more and more. As for Lin Qianqian, the one you're all fawning over now, she'll be a drowned rat soon enough. What are you talking about? Wu Qian interjected, defending me. Believe it or not, I don't care, my sister said haughtily. Anyway, none of you will ever get on my good side. After saying that, my sister walked away. Everyone else stared at her, utterly bewildered, as if to say, is there something seriously wrong with this person? I think I have an idea why my sister would think that. In her previous life, she was the quintessential nouveau riche, flashy and ostentatious with her wealth. All the friends she made were essentially bought with money, and she treated them like servants, with not an ounce of respect. So, after she fell on hard times, none of her friends stuck around, some even kicked her while she was down. She thought the same would happen to me, that when I lost everything, my friends would abandon me or even stab me in the back. My sister has always been convinced she'd live to see me fail. 8. Ever since my sister bought that luxury dress on New Year's Day, she's been like a completely different person. Her spending has skyrocketed, and everything she eats, wears, and uses is now designer. The whole school is buzzing with rumors that Wang Cici's family really struck it rich overnight. She became wealthy, but clearly, her family's situation is still the same. No demolition, no expansion of their shop. It was only in my previous life that my sister found out at this time that my adoptive parents were wealthy, she figured, since she was about to become rich anyway. What's the big deal about spending a little money now? My sister was the talk of the school for half a month, because she suddenly started spending lavishly, and was surrounded by a new group of admirers. Her vanity was finally greatly satisfied. When we occasionally ran into each other, she'd act like she was too good for me, barely even looking my way. During the midday break, Lin Zimo and I were called to the teacher's office, where we were asked to represent our school at the Municipal Cultural Center's talent show. Just then, I saw my sister walk into the office. The moment she entered, an unfamiliar middle-aged woman in the office suddenly screamed, "You bitch, how dare you trick my son into taking out online loans for you? Pay it back, give me my money back." My sister's teacher was startled by the middle-aged woman's shrill voice. Naturally, my sister got scared too. All the teachers in the faculty office stared at them in bewilderment. "I'll beat you to death." The woman grabbed a large ruler from the desk and swung it at my sister. "Ah!" My sister screamed in terror. Lin Zimo immediately shielded me behind him, protecting me from harm. The teacher grabbed the hysterical middle-aged woman. "If you keep this up, I'm calling security." The woman finally calmed down and confronted my sister. "How dare you make my son take out online loans for you? Give us our money back." "When did I ever ask your son to help me with online loans?" My sister didn't even finish her sentence. With a loud thud, the middle-aged woman slammed a black phone on the desk. "The messages between you and my son are crystal clear. How dare you still try to deny it? What exactly is going on here?" the teacher demanded angrily. The middle-aged woman indignantly recounted what had happened. Turns out my sister had secretly started dating a male college student from another school. Right after they became official, she pressured him into buying her luxury goods. When he said he couldn't afford it, she egged him on to take out online loans. In just 2 weeks, the guy had racked up over 100,000 yuan in online loans for her. Had his parents not accidentally discovered this, who knows how much the compounding interest would have ballooned to. After grilling their son, the parents went straight to the school demanding my sister repay the money. The teacher was shocked looking at my sister's chat history with the male college student. "Wang Cici, how do you know so many online loan platforms?" Bet our teacher had never even heard of half these lenders. Of course my sister knew them all. When the Lin family went bankrupt, she maxed out every credit card and took loans from over 70 different apps just to maintain her lavish lifestyle. Absolutely mind-blowing. My sister is still a minor, so she obviously can't get an online loan. "I don't care, you have to pay me back, or I'm calling the cops," the middle-aged woman threatened impatiently. "Bring your parents here," the teacher insisted, out of a final sense of duty. My sister was afraid they'd actually call the police. She's still a minor, but if this gets reported, her reputation will be ruined. She immediately made the call, even standing 2 meters away from my sister. I could hear the yelling through the receiver. I could practically feel the terror on the other end of the line. Countless midnight awakenings still send chills down my spine. 9. After hanging up, my sister announced, "My parents will be here soon. We're loaded." "Loaded? Then why'd you trick my son into co-signing your online loans? Shameless." The middle-aged woman lunged to slap my sister, but the teacher intercepted. About half an hour later, my former adoptive parents Wang Dikun and Jing Tsuewen, who are now my sister's adoptive parents, stormed into the office. 8 years had passed since my previous life, and this was the first time I was seeing them again. My body trembled ever so slightly. Lin Zimo took my hand and asked, "What's wrong, Qian?" I shook my head, staying composed. "Maybe we should leave first," Lin Zimo whispered. The teacher who called us was suddenly summoned by the principal, asking us to wait in the office for a while. "Let's come back this afternoon," Lin Zimo said, seemingly noticing my fear and wanting to take me away. No, I refused. I needed to see with my own eyes how my sister was living. The next moment, after Wang Dikun and Jing Tsuewen learned my sister owed over 100,000, Wang Dikun slapped her hard across the face. "Have you lost your damn mind? 100 grand in debt, you worthless bitch. After all the years I spent dragging you out of that orphanage and raising you. This is how you repay me." Wang Dikun spewed profanities. "I never even wanted you back then. It was you begging Dad this, Mom that to get adopted, promising you'd behave, and this is your idea of behaving. I'll beat you dead." Before she could finish speaking, another slap was coming her way. The teacher rushed to intervene. My sister touched her badly swollen cheek and sobbed, "Our family's so wealthy, yet you won't let me use any of it. Is it just because I'm not your biological child?" "What the hell are you talking about? I'm slaving away at this hot pot joint day and night, barely making a few grand a month. Where the hell would I get that kind of money? Stop lying to me. In your past life, you'd already made it big," my sister blurted out in excitement, slipping up. But nobody else paid it any mind. They didn't have a clue what she was talking about. "Has our old family house been demolished for redevelopment?" My sister didn't beat around the bush, asking directly. "Demolished? Are you kidding me?" Wang Dikun was trembling with rage. "I just got a call from the neighborhood committee yesterday saying they're installing an elevator in the old house and doing municipal renovations on the walls. It's never going to be demolished in this lifetime. How is that possible? That area is definitely going to be redeveloped." My sister didn't believe him at all. "Are you just hiding it from me because you're afraid I'll spend too much money? It's been a while since I last hit you. Are you itching for a beating?" Wang Dikun's patience was wearing thin. "If I can use my hands, I'll never use my mouth." So, to everyone's complete surprise, I delivered a hard kick to my sister's leg. My sister was directly kicked to the ground by Wang Dikun. The teachers in the main office were stunned by Wang Dikun's violent actions. A male teacher quickly restrained Wang Dikun. "Parent, calm down. No matter what, you can't hit a child like that." 10. "Let go of me." Wang Dikun yanked himself free from the male teacher and snarled at my sister. "That brat is no blood relation of mine. I've done more than enough by raising her for 16 years. From now on, nothing she does concerns me. As for the hundreds of thousands she owes, don't even think I'm paying it back for her." With that said, Wang Dikun turned and walked away. Jing Tsuewen hesitated for a moment, then followed Wang Dikun, clearly abandoning my sister. When that couple adopted a child from the orphanage, their motives were far from pure to begin with. Firstly, they genuinely didn't have children and wanted to avoid gossip from those around them, so they decided to adopt. Secondly, they also wanted a free laborer to help out at their hot pot restaurant, which is why they specifically requested an older child when adopting. They never showed any affection, not to me in their past life, nor to my sister in this one. Now that my sister's caused them so much trouble, they utterly despise her. The middle-aged woman hesitated to stop Wang Dikun and Jing Tsuewen as they left, but the memory of his menacing glare made her back down. She screamed at my sister, "If even your own parents won't deal with you, I'll have to call the police." "Don't call the police." My sister quickly grabbed the middle-aged woman. I'll pay you back, just give me a week. And I promise I'll return the money." "You bitch, are you trying to con me again? My parents are just angry right now. They won't stand by and do nothing. Give me some time to talk to them, and I promise I'll pay back the money." "Promise? What are you going to promise with? Your parents run a small hot pot place. How much money could they possibly have? They're the future billionaires," my sister declared with absolute conviction. To this day, she still firmly believes Wang Dikun and Jing Tsuewen will strike it rich overnight. I could see the middle-aged woman was completely speechless. The look in her eyes said it all. She thought my sister was out of her mind. "Look, even if you call the police right now, I don't have the money, and you won't get anything. You just saw my parents. They don't respond well to threats. How about you give me some time to convince them? If I still can't pay you back in a week, then you can call the police. It won't be too late." The teacher also chimed in, trying to mediate. The middle-aged woman finally relented, but not without a stern warning. "If Wang Cici doesn't pay up in a week, I'm suing your school too." The middle-aged woman then left. Lin Zimo also took my hand and led me out of the office. He's always been a very perceptive guy, so he must have noticed that, despite my best efforts to stay calm, I was trembling uncontrollably the whole time. Are you really scared of Wang Cici's parents? Lin Zimo asked me. No, tell yourself, from now on, you won't be afraid of anything. Lin Zimo sighed. Just trust me. I'll always protect you. Lin Zimo walked me back to the classroom first. After he left, I went back to the classroom office. I saw my sister emerge from inside, her face swollen and looking utterly disheveled. The moment she saw me, her expression instantly changed. 11. Lin Qianqian. You've been enjoying my misery this whole time, haven't you? My sister demanded. Her voice full of malice. Yeah, I didn't hide a thing, not just now. I'm still enjoying your misery. I scrutinized her from head to toe, my eyes filled with disdain. Her hair was a mess, clothes wrinkled, and face bruised. It was truly satisfying to see. You, my sister's face was beet red. Do you really think you'll have a good life from now on, Lin Qianqian? I'm telling you, you're about to lose everything. When that happens, even if you beg me on your knees, I won't help you. I just smiled, unfazed and with a hint of mockery. We'll see about that. My sister gritted her teeth and stormed away from me. She must be going back to verify whether Wang Dikan and Jing Tsuiwen are actually wealthy, and when she finally realizes they're truly penniless, she'll probably wish she were dead. After all, given this rare second chance at life, she thought she'd chosen the best possible path. Turns out she went for wool and came home shorn. I can even picture my sister having a meltdown, and honestly, it would be incredibly satisfying to watch. I thought that would finally make my sister settle down, at least, settle down in my world. She got into a relationship too young and even instigated someone to take out an online loan. Given how serious these offenses are, it's highly likely she'll be expelled from school, and Wang Dikan and Jing Tsuiwen would, of course, be held jointly responsible, whether biological or not. Adoption is still a parent-child relationship. My sister isn't an adult yet, so this debt of over 100,000 yuan will inevitably fall on them. But to my complete surprise, a week later, my sister was back at school, looking as radiant as ever. She's still spending lavishly. I unexpectedly ran into her at the school gate after classes. A few classmates were gathered around her. They were really trying to curry favor with her. My sister really thrives on being admired and sought after. She saw me and a sarcastic smile played on her lips. Lin Qianqian, disappointed. My life's only going to get better, and my family's only going to get richer. Where did you get the money? Is it another online loan? I shot back. What nonsense are you spouting? My sister's face instantly changed. The story of her boyfriend getting her to take out online loans for over 100,000 yuan, and his parents chasing her down at school to demand repayment, had long since spread throughout the school. It was a huge humiliation for her. She didn't want anyone to ever bring it up again. I told you, my family is a dark horse. Our hot pot restaurant is about to become the biggest chain in the country, and our family will be the richest. My sister was absolutely convinced. I frowned. So, Wang Dikan and Jing Tsuiwen are expanding their businesses, but where are they getting the money to expand, without the demolition compensation? They don't have any spare cash at all. The money the hot pot restaurant makes isn't even enough to cover Wang Dikan's drinking sprees. Lin Qianqian, my good days are just beginning, while you're in for a world of trouble. My sister tossed that out, then strutted off with her friends, full of herself. I quickly had someone investigate Wang Dikan and Jing Tsuiwen again. That's when I found out they had mortgaged their hot pot restaurant, both of their homes, and their car to open 5 more hot pot restaurants. The locations they chose were exactly the same as in my previous life, if I'm not mistaken. Not that it matters anyway. Identical conditions don't guarantee identical outcomes. 12. Monday morning exercises during sophomore year's second semester. During the flag-raising ceremony, Wang Dikan and Jing Tsuiwen suddenly caused a scene at the school. The entire school witnessed my sister being violently dragged away by Wang Dikan and Jing Tsuiwen. The next day, those two came back to the school with my sister, demanding money. The money my sister spent on her so-called friends back then. I had P.E. class at that time, so after hearing the rumors, I asked for leave and secretly went to the teacher's office. Wang Dikan and Jing Tsuiwen were relentless in the office. You must pay us back. If you don't, we're not leaving today. Why did we have to pay back all the money when Wang Cici used her classmates' money? But now that these classmates defrauded Wang Cici, they don't have to pay it back. We didn't defraud her. Wang Cici's friend quickly explained. She willingly spent all this money on us. She said your family was rich, that you'd become the wealthiest people in the future, with endless money to spend. Tell me the truth, did they force you to spend money on them? Wang Dikan gave my sister a vicious pinch. My sister cried out in pain. They absolutely pressured me into giving them money. "That's not true, you offered it yourself, we didn't want your money, but you insisted, saying it was pocket change to you." Several classmates fired back. Another student even showed their text messages to the teacher as proof. The teacher was at a loss for words after seeing it. She said, "Mr. Wang, see for yourself." It was clearly Wang Cici who insisted on spending money to show off in front of her classmates. "I don't care." Wang Dikun smashed his phone on the ground. "That brat spent over 80,000 yuan of mine this semester. If these kids don't pay back at least 50,000, I'm not going anywhere. None of you will have class today. You can't just act like a tyrant." The teacher snapped angrily. "How do you expect Cici to face her classmates after this? Have some consideration for her dignity." "Dignity? What's that worth? That jinx deserves to die. Who cares about her face?" Wang Dikun's rage escalated. "I was a damn fool to believe her nonsense. All that crap about being reborn and knowing the future. Swore I'd become the richest man if I expanded my business. She even picked storefronts for me. Now I've mortgaged everything, cars, house, shops, and I'm drowning in debt I'll never repay." The teacher was stunned by what Wang Dikun said. "I felt a sense of relief. It was exactly as I had expected. It must have been my sister who incited Wang Dikun and Jing Suiwen, telling them they'd strike it rich this way. I never thought my sister would screw me over this badly, remembering the wealth and glory these two enjoyed in their past lives. See, without me, they're nothing." My sister kept whimpering, muttering, "It's true. Our family is going to get rich, very soon." "Shut your damn mouth. If I ever listen to another word you say, I'm a pig." Wang Dikun was so furious he looked like he wanted to kill my sister again. My sister was crying her eyes out in fear. The teacher kept trying to break up the fight. This incident caused a huge stir at school. There was nothing for it. The classmate who'd borrowed money from my sister eventually returned it, thanks to the relentless badgering from Wang Dikun and Jing Suiwen. As a result, my sister was officially dismissed from the school. During that period, she became the laughingstock of the entire school. 13. Later, when my sister came to school to pack her things and leave, she was mercilessly ridiculed by her classmates. "Oh, isn't that Miss Wang, the one who's supposed to become the richest person? Why does she look like she just crawled out of a dumpster, broke but still trying to keep up appearances, and constantly competing with Lin Qianqian? How dare she? What? Has Miss Wang been exiled or something?" My sister left school, completely devastated. Before I could even process what was happening, I got jumped again in some alleyway. My sister was beaten to tears, begging them to stop, but they showed no mercy, hitting and yelling at her. "Why pretend to be rich when you're broke? I won't be satisfied until I've beaten you to a pulp. This is all your fault. My parents beat me up because of you, you jinx. I'm going to kill you, you bitch." A long time. Only after they had vented their anger did those people run off. If I'm not mistaken, these all seem to be the people my sister forced to pay back money, her so-called friends. I walked up to my sister. My sister didn't see my face. She just felt someone approach and started trembling. "Please don't hit me. I'll never do it again." "Boo-hoo-hoo. I'm not going to hit you. Hitting you would only dirty my hands." My sister snapped her head up, looking at me. "How could it be you, when facing me?" Her expression instantly turned sinister. "Just here to see how pathetic you've become, Lin Qianqian, you bitch. Get out of my sight right now." My sister shrieked like a madwoman. She probably couldn't stand me seeing her in such a pathetic state. I remained unfazed. To me, she was nothing but a joke. "Lin Qianqian, don't get cocky." My sister struggled to her feet. "You'll end up worse off than me." "Oh really?" I sneered. "You keep saying I'm doomed, that disaster's coming for me. Where's the proof?" My sister froze momentarily, suddenly struck by a thought. She demanded hysterically, "Lin Qianqian, did you also get reborn? Is that why you've been sabotaging my life?" "I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not as dumb as her, blabbing about reincarnation everywhere." "Lin Qianqian, I'll kill you." I completely ignored her. My sister is covered in injuries. She can barely walk 2 steps now. I walked past her, seeing her in such a pathetic state with my own eyes, and then remembering how terribly Wang Dikun and Jing Suiwen suffered because of her, filled me with satisfaction. But I didn't expect that. A week later, I was shocked to see my sister at the Lin family's villa. 14. My sister sat on the sofa, looking so delicate and vulnerable, as if she was afraid of breaking it. Mr. and Mrs. Lin were very polite to her. Lin Zimo and I came home from school, both feeling a bit confused. "Qianqian, your sister is here to see you." Mrs. Lin greeted me warmly. Wang Cici saw me and immediately became very affectionate. "Qianqian, what are you doing here?" I frowned. "I missed you," my sister said very naturally. "Didn't you miss me? We're sisters, after all." that's not what you said at school. You told me not to get chummy with you. When did I ever say that? My sister denied. You must have misheard. I glared at her coldly. My sister remained unruffled and even took the initiative to chat with Mrs. Lin, showering her with flattery. Unaware of my sister's recent circumstances, Mrs. Lin still held her initial favorable impression and treated her with warmth. After dinner at the Lins, my sister, looking pitiful, asked, "Uncle and Auntie, can I stay here tonight? I'd love to catch up with my sister." "Of course you can," Mrs. Lin readily agreed. Lin Zimming looked like he was about to say something, but I held him back and, smiling, said to Mrs. Lin, "Thank you, Mom." Lin Zimming seemed a bit confused as to why I'd let my sister stay. He's well aware of the relationship between my sister and me, but he doesn't know what my sister is really after. I need to make my sister disappear from my life completely, otherwise, she'll always be a ticking time bomb. Lin Zimmo pulled me aside, looking utterly bewildered. "How could you let Wang Cici share a room with you? That woman has nothing but ill intentions." "No, I'm going to tell Mom and Dad what kind of person Wang Cici really is." "Hold on," I told Lin Zimu. "Instead of us telling Mom and Dad what kind of person Wang Cici is, it's better to let them see it for themselves. You saw how good she is at faking it, and Mom and Dad already have such a good impression of her. I don't want them to think we're trying to stir up trouble." Lin Zimu immediately understood what I meant. He asked, "So, what should we do?" "Let's wait and see how things unfold." Back in my room, my sister had, of course, already changed into my pajamas and was sprawled out on my soft princess bed. The contentment on her face was truly undisguised. Seeing me enter, she adopted an exceptionally sweet tone. "Qian, there were some misunderstandings between us before, and I admit I was wrong. Just remember how hard I fought to get you into the Lin family, to live such a good life, and please don't hold a grudge against me." "So, is my sister just pretending to make peace? You've seen my situation. My adoptive parents are going to beat me to death. You're the only family I have left in this world. I can only rely on you." "Didn't you say you wouldn't rely on me even if you were a beggar?" I scoffed. I spoke out of turn back then. "Don't hold it against me. Could you find it in your heart to forgive your big sister this once?" My sister cooed at me. How utterly revolting. My forgiveness means nothing. This is the Lin household, and I'm just an adopted child. There's nothing I can do to help you. "Oh, but you can," my sister instantly countered. I looked at her. "In short, as long as you don't kick me out, I'll find a way to stay," my sister declared confidently. 15. I had no idea what scheme my sister was cooking up this time, but she was playing with fire. I'll just wait for her to self-destruct. My sister ended up staying at the Lin families for half a month. In her previous life, my sister was already part of the Lin family, so she knew exactly what they liked. That's why her 2-week stay delighted Mr. and Mrs. Lin. The only one she didn't manage to win over was Lin Zimmo. No matter how she tried to please him, Lin Zimmo simply ignored her. During dinner, Lin Zimmo deliberately remarked, "Wang Cici, you've been staying at our place for half a month now. Aren't you going home? Don't your parents miss you?" Mrs. Lin seemed to realize it too. "Cici, you've been here for half a month already. Time flies. You really should go back. Your parents must be worried having you stay at someone else's home this long." My sister clearly didn't want to leave. With the Lin family putting it that way, she couldn't refuse. "All right. You're welcome to visit Qian often, as her biological sister. Your family to us, family should keep in touch," Mrs. Lin said warmly. My sister nodded with a smile, but she must have been seething inside. She didn't want to be just a relative of the Lin family, she wanted to stay with them forever. Night fell. Even after I finished my homework, my sister still hadn't returned to our room. It wasn't until I was already in bed that my sister came back, visibly unsettled. In the dead of night, I hazily sensed my sister leaving the room again. Come morning, a piercing scream suddenly echoed through the house. I scrambled out of bed in a hurry. The moment I opened my door, I saw Mr. and Mrs. Lin emerging from their room, both bleary-eyed with sleep. The sound was coming from Lin Zimmo's room. Mr. Lin pushed open Zimmo's door without hesitation. The moment the door opened, my sister's scream intensified. She was lying on Zimmo's bed, clutching the blanket tightly. Lin Zimmo tumbled off the bed at that moment, completely naked. I immediately turned away to avoid looking. Both Mr. and Mrs. Lin also turned their backs. "What's going on here, Mr. Lin demanded sternly, still facing away from them. "Last night, Lin, he, my sister sobbed pitifully, her voice choked with tears. "That's not true. I didn't even know when you crawled into my bed," Lin Zimmo retorted defensively. "Enough, Mr. Lin snapped. "Get dressed first. Then we'll talk downstairs." The morning air hung thick with tension. My sister's eyes welled up with tears. She was so incredibly wronged. Lin Zimo, you must take responsibility for Wang Sisi. Father Lin spoke, not asking for reasons or outcomes, but directly issuing a command. Lin Zimo wanted to say something. Mother Lin stopped him. No matter what, in situations like this, it's always the girl who gets the short end of the stick. You should take responsibility. Lin Zimo gritted his teeth, saying nothing. Sisi, you're both still underage, so marriage is out of the question for now. But we can get engaged first, Lin's mother said. Don't worry, our family will take good care of you. Thank you, Auntie. My sister looked incredibly touched, yet a cunning slyness lurked in her eyes. She knew perfectly well how good the Lin family was, and how upright their values were. As long as something happened between her and Lin Zimu, the Lin family would definitely side with her. So, she thought her scheme had succeeded. 16. C. Lin Qianqian, I told you I could stay with the Lin family. As soon as we got back to the room, my sister's attitude towards me changed dramatically. All that flattery and fawning from the past fortnight vanished in an instant. Now they're just gloating triumphantly. Once I marry Lin Zimo, the Lin family fortune will be mine, my sister said with growing excitement. I was completely baffled. What kind of twisted logic is she using? My sister seemed to read my mind and declared matter-of-factly, do you actually think you have any claim to the Lin family fortune? Know your place, you're just an adopted daughter. Lin Zimo is the blood heir, and as the son, he's the rightful successor, and since I'm his wife, what's his is naturally mine. I couldn't help but laugh. My sister's warped reasoning genuinely cracked me up. She's barely scratched the surface, yet she genuinely believes she's secured her spot as the young mistress of the Lin family. Even if that were the case, there's no way Mr. and Mrs. Lin would completely cut me off. Given how much they dote on me, well, congratulations then, I couldn't care less. Anyway, she's just dreaming. But since Lin's parents had promised to take responsibility for my sister, they really started preparing for the engagement. They were just waiting for the summer vacation after Lin Ziming finished his second year of high school to hold it. My sister was also incredibly excited. However, a week before the summer break, the Lin group was suddenly exposed to a bankruptcy crisis. Those days were a nightmare for Mr. and Mrs. Lin. My sister secretly overheard several of my father's calls to the bank about securing a loan. I noticed her expression change dramatically. So, that evening, when the family gathered again to finalize the engagement party details, my sister couldn't help but ask, I heard something happened with the company these past few days. It's a small matter, Father Lin said. Difficulties are only temporary and will soon pass. However, you might have to bear with some inconvenience for now. We originally planned a lavish engagement party, but now we'll have to keep it simple. After you get married, I promise we'll make up for it with a grand wedding. I noticed my sister's smile falter slightly. You wouldn't mind, would you? Mother Lin asked my sister. My sister hadn't said a word yet. I interjected. How can that be? My sister told me she loves him dearly, and she'd stick by him no matter what, even if he lost everything. My sister was speechless, caught off guard by my words. She just managed a shaky smile and nodded. That evening, my sister could only watch as Mr. and Mrs. Lin continued to scale down the engagement banquet. I saw her face grow paler and paler. By the next day, my sister couldn't hold back anymore. After all, the Lin family did go bankrupt in her previous life. Even though many things have unfolded differently this time around, she clearly isn't willing to take any chances. No matter how the Lin family tried to ensure her safe exit, she still faced retaliation because of them after their bankruptcy in her previous life. With her personality, she'd never wade into troubled waters again. She said, Uncle, Auntie, since the family's in such financial difficulty now, perhaps we should call off the engagement. Absolutely not. We keep our promises. Don't worry, even if the Lin family goes bankrupt, we'll stand by you to the end, Mrs. Lin vowed. The word bankruptcy completely broke my sister's composure. Her voice rose a little. Your family is bankrupt. How can you take responsibility for me? Do you want me to be burdened with debt alongside you? You're too selfish, Mr. and Mrs. Lin looked at Wang Sisi in disbelief. This was completely different from the well-behaved image she usually presented. I'm not getting engaged. My sister didn't want to beat around the bush anymore. She just laid it all out. But you and Ziming already. Already what? My sister retorted fiercely. I can't sacrifice my happiness for the rest of my life. Can I? I'm not that stupid. I'm not going to waste any more time talking to you. I absolutely won't go through with this engagement. But I also can't let Lin Ziming get away with treating me like this. Give me 2 million, and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. 17. The hall was silent. Lin Ziming's parents stared at her, dumbfounded, as if I'd never truly seen her for who she was. Why are you all looking at me like that? How foolish of me to believe fate could be changed, my sister snapped angrily. Exactly, she thought this lifetime would be different, since Wang Dikun hadn't struck it rich. The Lin family wouldn't go bankrupt, that's why she wanted back into the Lin household, resorting to such despicable means. Who would have thought? Fate is reincarnating again. She was absolutely furious. She no longer bothered to hide her intentions, threatening, if you don't give me 2 million, I'll report Lin Zimo. I'm still underage, but Lin Zimo is old enough to be held criminally responsible. Do you have proof? Lin Zimo challenged her. Of course I do. I approached you with an agenda from the very beginning. Did you really think I'd come unprepared? My sister laid her cards on the table. After all, when the Lin family went bankrupt in her past life, she'd torn off the mask just like this. She pulled out her phone, revealing compromising photos of her and Lin Zimo. Lin Zimo's face went completely dark. Once I hand these over to the police, you're finished, Lin Zimo. That's not necessarily true, I said. My sister glared at me. I have the complete video of how you framed my brother that night and how you ended up in his bed. I'm sure the police will be able to tell right from wrong. With that, I cast the video directly to the TV. Damn right. From the very beginning, I was on guard against my sister. That's why I installed hidden cameras in every corner of the room, including my brother's bedroom. My sister, knowing the Lin family's original surveillance setup, cleverly avoided the monitored areas and executed her sinister plan in the blind spots. Little did she know, her every move was being watched by us the entire time. The video showed my sister secretly drugging Lin Zimo. Once he was fast asleep, she stealthily climbed into his bed, stripped them both naked, and then began taking countless photos. Finally, she deliberately created a panic in the morning. My sister trembled with rage as she watched the video footage. Got anything else to say? We could even sue you for fraud, I warned my sister. Lin Qianqian, do you really think there'll be happy ending for you? Mark my words, when the Lin family goes bankrupt, you'll suffer right along with them. Serves you right for being shackled to those people your whole life. My sister spat before turning to leave. Who said anything about our family going bankrupt? I sneered. Are you really that clueless? Your adoptive father's been scrambling for bank loans all week, just like last time. The Lin group's already an empty shell. They'll collapse within a year at most. That was just for show, Lin Zimo said. My sister looked at Lin Zimo, thinking she'd misheard. Lin Group stock hit its daily limit today, Lin Zimo said, pulling out his phone to show Wang Cici the market data. How is that possible? At this point in my last life, the Lin family was on the verge of bankruptcy. This data must be photoshopped. Wang Dikun got super rich around this time in his last life, I retorted. How did you know? My sister stared at me. Don't you think? You've been reborn too. I didn't deny it. What have you done? What have you done to my destiny? My sister went ballistic, charging at me, ready to strike. But Lin Zimo grabbed her, holding her in an unbreakable grip, leaving her utterly immobile. Sis, don't forget. You were the one who made the choices in both this life and the last. My sister froze. Completely stunned, she couldn't process it for a long time. Probably doesn't even realize where they went wrong. Guess even the heavens can't stand a wicked person like you. So divine justice must be served. No, that's not it, my sister shrieked, acting like a complete lunatic. She simply couldn't accept being defeated by me in both lifetimes. She probably still can't comprehend why this happened after 2 lifetimes. Lin Zimo had his servants throw my sister out, threatening to beat her to death if she dared approach me again. Naturally, people like my sister never learn their lesson. She's miserable, so she's determined to make everyone else miserable too. But that's a story for another time. After she was thrown out of the Lin family villa, Mrs. Lin couldn't help but sigh. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I really wouldn't believe Wang Cici is this kind of person. After spending all this time with her, even if there was nothing between her and Zimo, I treated her like a daughter for Qianqian's sake. It's a good thing you two, Qianqian and Zimo, talked me out of it and suggested we verify her character. Otherwise, I would have truly been deceived by her. Speaking of which, Qianqian, did you really get reborn? Mrs. Lin asked me, incredulously. I smiled. Mom, none of that really matters. What matters is that we're a family now. A family that loves each other wholeheartedly, with no barriers between us. Lin Mu looked relieved and nodded. She hugged me. I can't even imagine how much I'd regret it if I had adopted your sister instead of you back then. My eyes welled up. At that moment, I also felt incredibly fortunate that fate had given me a chance to restart my life. It led me back to you all. From now on, we'll be inseparable, always. Postscript. Over the next 6 months, my sister came to me many times, She begged me for money and pleaded with me to help her pay off her debts, otherwise, she'd be sold off to an old man by Wang Dikun and Jing Tsuewen. That's when I found out that after my sister had thoroughly fleeced them, Wang Dikun and Jing Tsuewen, in an attempt to recoup their losses, were planning to marry her off to any old man who would pay them a 300,000 yuan bride price, to avoid being married off to an old man. My sister came to the Lin family and then negotiated terms with Wang Dikun. My sister has completely alienated herself from our Lin family, so Wang Dikun naturally won't trust her anymore, and there's no way I'm going to go soft on her. This is all her own doing. Besides, after how cruel she was to me in my past life, there's no way I'm going to repay her cruelty with kindness. She nodded and said to me, "Aren't you going to thank your sister? If you keep hiding from us like this, we'll just take her with us." So, that day, she showed up at the school gate with a knife, waiting for me. I knew she wouldn't let me off the hook, so I'd already prepared for it. The moment she pulled out the knife, the bodyguards Lin Zimo had assigned to me quickly restrained her. Then they took her to the police station. We've got both eyewitness testimony and physical evidence. My sister, though underage, was already 16 when she committed attempted murder and got sentenced to 5 years in prison. What'll become of her after those 5 years? That's beyond my concern. Knowing Wang Dikun and Jing Tsuewen's cruelty, I'm certain my sister won't have an easy life. As for me, I've been given a second chance at life, and I'm going to cherish every moment of it. I'll use my good fortune to protect everyone I love and who loves me. May our land be unharmed, and our nation prosperous and peaceful forever. The end. Story 2. In high school, I deliberately scored poorly on tests and paid the poor school heartthrob to tutor me, just to help him out financially. But he resented me for taking time away from his childhood sweetheart. When he learned I outscored him by 100 points on the college entrance exam, he cursed me, calling me a hypocritical, scheming rich girl who'd never find true love. Later, he got me killed. He even came to my grave to warn me, if there's a next life, spare him the fake pity and stop forcing affections that were never meant to be, as he wished. Given another chance, I never asked him to tutor me again. He had all the time in the world to wash dishes and wait tables with his childhood sweetheart at every diner in town. 1. Ian Jemming, the school heartthrob, lost his father in a fire 3 years ago while he was on duty. Our family's chain restaurant was located in the commercial district where his father fought the blaze. In gratitude for his father's sacrifice, our family donated 1 million yuan to his family afterward. His mother was hospitalized due to grief-induced illness. By the time Ian Jemming and I got into the same public high school, his family had nearly exhausted all the firefighters' death benefits and donations left by his father. My mother found out we were in the same honors class. When she tried to donate another million to his family, Ian Jemming coldly refused. "Stop humiliating me." Later, I came up with a plan. I deliberately scored at the bottom of the placement test, then paid premium rates for Ian Jemming to tutor me. This way, I could protect his pride while naturally freeing him from restaurant shifts to focus on his mother and studies. But in our past life, he ended up despising me for it. First, he resented me for constantly asking him to tutor me, which took away time he could have spent with his childhood sweetheart Lu Junjun. This led to her dating the school bully from a neighboring school. Second, he felt humiliated that I scored 100 points higher than him on the college entrance exam. He believed a mediocre student like me had no right to outperform him, let alone use it as an excuse to pursue him. He swore he'd never like me, cursing this scheming rich girl to never find true love. Later, he buckled down and was admitted to a prestigious graduate school that outranked his undergraduate institution. During his 3rd year of grad school, he secured angel investment to launch a medical aesthetics startup. His natural good looks as the campus heartthrob lent credibility to his cosmetic business ventures. Before long, he'd made his first 10 million yuan. When he finally mustered the courage to reconnect with long-lost Lu Junjun, he discovered she was already pregnant with twins for a wealthy businessman 10 years her senior. Compared to the tycoon's family fortune, Ian Jemming's 10 million was just a drop in the bucket. So Ian Jemming took out all his hatred on me. He unusually invited me to his clinic for cosmetic procedures, then stealthily injected venom throughout my body, only to dismiss my death as a trivial medical accident. My parents originally wanted to seek justice for me. Upon learning the accident occurred at Ian Jemming's company, out of respect for his late father, a firefighting hero, they took the hero's descendant at his word. They even held my funeral with Ian Jemming's help. After the funeral, Ian Jemming swindled fresh investment money from my parents, then came gloating about it at my graveside. Then he warned me with pure venom, "If there's a next life, don't you dare play the saint and pretend to pity him." He never needed my family's charity or handouts, and he certainly wouldn't stoop to tutoring spoiled rich girls like me for money. My own arrogance killed me, and he has no regrets. Perhaps the heavens took pity on my unjust and tragic death, granting me this chance to start over. This time, I won't dim my light or endure a single second of suffering for that scumbag, and I'll make damn sure that bastard never gets another penny from my family. I won't let him hurt me ever again. 2. Clutching my rock-bottom final exam report card, I practically sprinted home. Seeing my parents looking decades younger gave me an eerie sense of time travel. Mom took my report card, popped an orange slice into my mouth, and said pointedly, "Are you just home? Get some vitamin C to boost immunity, then take your fish oil. Don't forget you were the city's top middle school graduate. No need to overdo this underachiever act." With tears in my eyes and an orange slice in my mouth, I replied, "Starting today, there's no need to have Ian Jemming tutor me at home anymore. And I won't deliberately rank last in the next exam either. Also, if he ever tries to work at any of our family restaurants again, please tell the managers to turn him down." My mother looked stunned and exchanged glances with my father. In my past life, though my parents had agreed to let me flunk exams to help Ian Jemming, it cost them their dignity for quite some time. The daughter of our city's top middle school exam scorer became the perpetual underachiever in her elite public high school class. 2 whole years, from sophomore to junior year. People accused me of cheating on the entrance exams, saying my true colors showed after entering public school. A family obsessed with business schemes could never focus on academics, hiring the school's top-ranked heartthrob as a tutor. Just another calculated move, trading resources to upgrade their genetic pool. These days it's either beauties paired with trolls or average girls forcing chemistry with hunks. An absolute eyesore and health hazard for everyone. Whispers like these kept drifting to our family's ears, but from the start, we'd resolved to help Ian Jemming, the firefighter hero's descendant. My parents had no choice but to endure these unfair criticisms. What's more, I got completely invested and even developed a bit of a crush on Ian Jemming. I always had his back, no matter what. Let's be honest, it's perfectly normal for a teenage girl like me to appreciate a handsome face, right? Add to that my admiration for Ian Jemming as a firefighter's descendant and all those CEO romance novels I'd read, so when I kept interacting with his aloof self daily, I just fell for him inexplicably. That's why my mom kept getting anxious and would frequently drop hints to snap me out of it, but I promised her I wouldn't confess my feelings until after the college entrance exams. I blinked back the welling tears and declared firmly, "I'm dead serious. I'm going to study alone in the study." The doorbell rang just as I finished speaking. Housekeeper Aunt Jo ushered in the aloof and arrogant Ian Jemming. Looking at 18-year-old Ian Jemming's face now just makes me sick, but I held it back, curling my lips into a sneer. "Must be such a chore tutoring a spoiled rich girl like me. You can leave now, but you'll still get paid for today. Feel free to reject the handout if it offends your pride. Don't bother coming in starting tomorrow. My patience may be vast, but I won't keep kissing up to someone who treats me like dirt." 3. The searing pain of venom coursing through my veins haunted my nightmares at midnight. I woke up screaming, drenched in cold sweat. Hearing my voice, Mom rushed to my room to comfort me. "Yuja, what's wrong?" Mom wiped the sweat from my forehead and said, "Don't be scared, it was just a dream. Your parents will always protect you. Just a dream." Looking up at my mother's worried face, I hugged her tightly and pleaded, "Mom, can you make sure none of our partner stores or restaurants hire Ian Jemming for part-time work? Don't give him any chance to earn money, not even dishwashing or waiting tables." My mom looked puzzled. "Yuja, how could your attitude toward Ian Jemming change so drastically in just one day?" "Yesterday evening, I noticed he left our house with a strange expression. Did something happen between you two?" Telling Mom about my rebirth would have shocked her, so I simply explained how Ian Jemming had repeatedly shown disdain for our family's money. When Mom initially offered his family a 1 million yuan donation, he coldly refused. That much was true. Mom nodded in understanding and accepted my explanation, but she added that if none of our Win family's chain restaurants or partners hired Ian Jemming, he'd likely end up working for our competitors, that notorious Yao's restaurant. Infamous for mistreating waitstaff yet still thriving despite the flood of bad reviews. I nodded. This was exactly my intention. After my rebirth, I set my revenge plan in motion to clear my blocked milk ducts. First, I'll make Ian Jemming understand his true worth. Then, they tortured him beyond endurance. In the end, they left his body in pieces. 4. Just as expected, a week later, Ian Jemming took a part-time job at Yao's restaurant. At first, he didn't mind being turned down by his previous workplace since Lu Junjun wasn't working there either. Ian Jemming followed Lu Junjun to work at Yao's restaurant. Even though the hourly wage was 10 yuan less than other places, he didn't mind. Being with Lu Junjun was all that mattered. Every afternoon after school, Yin Jiaming would meet her at the crosswalk opposite campus, hand in hand, sharing an ear of corn. They'd take the bus together to wash dishes and wait tables. His mother's hospital bills were initially covered by my family, paying him 5 times the standard tutoring rate, but hospitalization burns through money. The funds were gone in under a month, even working himself to the bone for 90 hours a month at 3 yuan per hour. Yin Jiaming only earned 377 yuan, paid mid-month no less. That couldn't even cover a single day of his mother's hospital expenses. He begged the hospital for a 1-week extension, promising to find a way to cover the payment. His solution was to work longer shifts as a waiter, either taking more night shifts or skipping classes for part-time work. His attentive homeroom teacher soon noticed his unusual behavior and privately called him into the office to see if she could help resolve his situation. Facing his teacher, he had no choice but to confess his family's dire financial straits and his mother's urgent need for hospitalization funds. The homeroom teacher thought he had it tough, and considering he was a top 10 student in the grade, didn't want to let such promising talent go to waste, so she personally donated 1,000 yuan first, then promised to organize class-wide or even grade-wide donations for Yin Jiaming. This time, though Yin Jiaming showed a hint of reluctance, he ultimately nodded in the face of reality. During self-study period, when the donation QR code made its way from the front row to mine and Li Shui's desk, my deskmate Li Shui generously scanned the QR code to transfer 200 yuan, then sighed. Donating 200 yuan to Yin Jiaming is already my limit. That's my entire month's breakfast budget plus my life-saving boba money. Yujia, if you donate more later, don't you dare laugh at me. Okay. Without pausing my test or looking up, I replied, don't worry, I'm not donating. Li Shui gasped. What? Didn't you hire Yin Jiaming for private tutoring at premium rates before? Technically he's kinda like your mentor. Plus, your family's quite well off and charitable, you know, like in Parasite where the rich have the luxury to be generous with their kindness. Oops, my bad, that came out wrong. Sorry for the guilt trip, just noticed you've been acting off lately and couldn't resist prying. I set down my pen and passed the QR code to the person behind me. Then I replied to Li Shui, but there's such thing as being too kind, you'll just become a resented do-gooder. Ever heard of beneficiary's malice? If I donated to Yin Jiaming, he'd probably turn around and bite the hand that feeds him. Li Shui burst into giggles. I leaned closer to whisper in Li Shui's ear, gotta save my own skin first. Seriously, 2 years ago when my mom tried to donate $1 million directly to Yin Jiaming's family, he turned it down too, thought we were insulting his dignity. It was presumptuous of me to impose my help without considering whether he actually needed it. This young lady has decided to tighten the purse strings and quit playing Mother Teresa. With that, I buried myself in the test papers again. Li Shui had no choice but to sip her boba tea while propping her chin in thought for a long while. During the second homeroom period, the head teacher announced the donation total for Yin Jiaming, 10 yen, for 98, clearing his throat. He gave me a pointed look and said sarcastically, most classmates have contributed to help Yin Jiaming through his difficulties. You're all kind-hearted kids, though some who should have donated didn't. Meanwhile, an icy glare shot toward me from the front row seat by the left wall. Oh, look, it's our class charity case, Yin Jiaming, 5. I stared straight at Yin Jiaming, waiting for him to spout nonsense, but he just turned away silently. I'll let it go, ignoring those passive-aggressive cowards who wouldn't speak directly. I packed my bag and left right as the dismissal bell rang. After getting home, I had a well-balanced dinner, did some reading, then showered and turned in for the night. I need to recharge both physically and mentally, getting proper rest and sleep for tomorrow's final exam. Only with proper rest can I think clearly and dominate the exam hall once again. Long time no see, my top-performing self. A week later, the final exam results were out. I skyrocketed from the bottom ranks to top 30 in grade and top 5 in class. Yin Jiaming, who had consistently ranked in the top 10 for 2 years, plummeted to 100th place in the grade. The whole class was buzzing with gossip. No way, when Yujia, who's always been at the bottom, actually made it to the top 30. Is this a dream? That's insane. She improved by a whopping 321 points. She must have cheated, right? Wasn't when Yujia the city's top scorer in the middle school entrance exam? Maybe she's just readjusted to high school exams now. Rumors have been swirling that she bought her way to the top of the city's middle school exams. Money talks. After all, she used to have Yin Jiaming tutor her regularly. Wait, why did Yin's grades drop so drastically? Could he and Wen Yujia have swapped test papers? His family's been desperate for cash lately. I strongly demand a review of Wenyujia's final exam results, or have her retake the test alone to prove herself. My deskmate Li Shui defended me. Yujia would never cheat. For the past 2 months, I've seen her grind through at least 2 practice tests daily. Our homeroom teacher, already displeased that I hadn't donated to Yin Jiaming's fundraiser, summoned me to the office after hearing these speculations and confronted me about possible cheating. I said no. He retorted, how can you prove you didn't cheat? Why did you score so much higher than Yin Jiaming, who's been tutoring you all along? Did you refuse to donate just to secretly pay him for answers and grades? Rich girls like you always have to show off. I burst out laughing. Why should I prove myself? The burden of proof lies with the accuser. As an educator with years of experience, I always believed you were a responsible teacher. Now I see your responsibility is selective, playing favorites with male students while resenting the wealthy. How pathetic. My parents started with a street stall over a decade ago. Through national policies, relentless effort, and commitment to food quality and service, they built what we have today. Perhaps you should quit teaching and try starting your own street stall business. You must admit that some affluent individuals, having secured financial stability, can focus their time and energy on self-improvement and knowledge acquisition rather than daily survival. Let's be real, wealthy people accumulate fortunes either through generations of hard work or by outsmarting the system. That takes serious brains and knowledge, so don't assume rich folks are just lucky idiots. The wealthy create massive economic value, boost GDP, pay substantial taxes that fund national development. Hell, even you benefited from my family's education fund donation to our school 2 years ago. Didn't you get a nice subsidy from that? Stop biting the hand that feeds you. If you're genuinely confused, maybe crack open some economics books instead of complaining. The homeroom teacher was left speechless, just standing there awkwardly. Wenyujia, how utterly disrespectful. You've no concept of honoring teachers or respecting elders. I laughed even louder. Realizing further conversation was pointless, I turned to leave the office, then paused to add, if you want respect, start by respecting others. Stop waving your petty authority around like some imperial decree, showing off while smearing others. 6. The moment I returned to the classroom, Yin Jiaming came to my desk and asked if we could step outside to talk. It was the first time he'd initiated conversation since my rebirth, yet his face still wore that same contemptuous look. The memory of him injecting venom into my body in our past life sent an involuntary shiver down my spine. I suppressed the overwhelming tide of hatred. Rolled her eyes at him, spit it out if you've got something to say. After a long pause, he spewed this nonsense. What did you promise my mom? She wants to see you at the hospital. Listen carefully, my mom wanting to see you doesn't mean I accept you. There's no future between us, so stop playing hard to get. What a load of bullshit he's spewing. I stood up and slapped him right across the face. Can't you stop slandering people like a grown man? Playing hard to get. I just stopped paying your ridiculous tutoring fees because I can outscore you on my own. Why should I waste money on your ugly mug? We're impossible. Did I ever pursue you, confess my feelings, send you love letters, force you into a relationship? None of that happened, right? I just hired you as a tutor for a while. Why are you being so delusional? And let's get one thing straight, you're the one begging for my help here, so act like it. Unless you want to squander every ounce of goodwill your parents worked so hard to earn. Slapped and insulted, Yin Jiaming's face flushed crimson. He stared at me in disbelief before roaring back furiously, suit yourself, message delivered. I'm off to make an honest living. I shouted at his retreating figure, you hypocritical piece of trash, go to hell. Li Shui, who was sipping her bubble tea nearby, suddenly stopped and grabbed my hand. Don't be mad, Yujia, she said soothingly. Getting angry isn't good for your breast health. Not cursing out that bastard would be worse for my mammary glands, but I knew Li Shui meant well, so I nodded and suggested treating her to hot pot to celebrate our improved exam results. Li Shui jumped from top 50 to top 30 in our grade this time, and made it into the top 10 in our class. Li Shui immediately set down her bubble tea, swiftly packed her bag, and pulled me out of the classroom. Amidst the hushed gossip of onlooking classmates, Li Shui and I strutted out of school without a care. At the aromatic hot pot restaurant, we devoured long-missed delicacies, fatty beef, tripe, lotus root slices, crown daisy, bamboo shoots, potatoes, and beef balls, before Li Shui miraculously produced 2 giant bubble teas, handing me one. Yujia, let's celebrate. I gleefully accepted it and raised a toast first. Cheers to both of us making the top 30 in our grade. Here's to cracking the top 3 in next year's college entrance exams, Li Shui chimed in. Celebrating my junk food detox, though I'll never give up my life-saving bubble tea, I continued. Here's to ditching the do-gooder act and staying true to myself. Our milk teacups clinked as Li Shui and I cheered in unison. May we all have a bright future. 7. 1 week later, when my mother took me for a checkup at the municipal hospital, we ran into Ian Jemming picking up his mother upon discharge. It wasn't that she'd recovered, her condition had actually worsened. His mother suffered central nervous system damage from grief, leading to acute cerebral hemorrhage that progressed into chronic hemiplegia. Continued hospitalization would require hiring caregivers for daily assistance and rehabilitation therapy. Last time, besides school donations, he raised funds through a crowdfunding platform, but the money was depleted within 2 weeks after settling previous debts. Now his family has reached absolute financial ruin, the second time. His family launched another crowdfunding campaign, but very few people donated. Sometimes, people's kindness can be completely worn out. Mrs. Ian trembled as she greeted my mother and me, then thanked us. She said she knew our family had donated to them before and had been very kind to Ian Jemming. The last time she wanted me to visit the hospital was to express her gratitude in person. My heart softened, baffled how such a reasonable mother could raise that self-righteous bastard Ian Jemming. But my son Jemming didn't want to keep begging for donations to treat my illness. I understand, men have their pride. I'll go home in my wheelchair, keep up with my exercises, and when he gets back from school or work, he can help me with some rehab. I'm sure I'll gradually get better. Hearing this, my mother and I exchanged glances. Well, we'll just have to respect their decision and wish them the best. Ian Jemming, standing nearby, forcefully pushed my mother and me aside with his right hand covered in band-aids, pushing Mother Ian through the biting wind to catch the bus. Is this guy out of his mind, trying to take out your Yao Ji restaurant frustrations on me? If anyone should be venting anger here, it's me. I just put him in his place, haven't even started tormenting him yet. I immediately called the restaurant manager, listening to the intel my family gathered at Yao's restaurant. These days, what honest food business doesn't have an undercover watchdog? Ian Jemming has been through the ringer at Yao's restaurant lately. First, his part-time wages of 3,500 yuan were withheld because he accidentally broke some plates. Those practically worthless plates required triple compensation at Yao's, a restaurant notorious for nickel-and-diming its staff. Ian wasn't even allowed to replace them with similar plates. The general manager stated that Yao's tableware is exclusively customized and cannot be replaced with inferior substitutes. The proud Ian Jemming couldn't tolerate such treatment, so he tried to convince Lu Junjun to return to their previous restaurant for part-time work, but Lu Junjun declined. Lu felt constantly washing dishes, wiping tables, and serving meals was exhausting. It made no difference which restaurant she worked at. For secure document anti-piracy, choose Xiaohu Bot. Reliable bookfinding AI assistant, no scams guaranteed. When Yaoji Restaurant's pre-made meal secret got exposed, the boss installed a glass display at the entrance. It supposedly shows their signature pepper pork cooking process, but actually just requires staff to perform vegetable chopping, preferably by an attractive female employee. Coincidentally, Lu Junjun happened to be quite good-looking. She was tired of being ordered around in the kitchen anyway. Chopping peppers behind glass seemed like cushy work. No way she'd return to the old restaurant with Ian Jemming, not after burning bridges with the manager and staff. Why go back just to become their laughingstock? Unable to swallow the humiliation, Ian Jemming had no choice but to return alone to his former restaurant to seek employment. But after applying to all 7 or 8 eateries where he'd worked part-time after middle school, every single one turned him down. This time, the managers didn't cite overstaffing. They admitted the Wen family restaurants had put out the word. Ian wasn't to earn a single cent from any Wen-affiliated business, not even through hard labor. Aren't you Wang's catering? Ian demanded, eyes flashing. What's this got to do with the Wens? My apologies, but the Wen family holds majority shares in our Wang's establishment, the manager replied. Ian Jemming had no choice but to return to Yao's restaurant. He kept swallowing his pride, washing dishes with resentment, carrying plates with excessive caution, non-stop cleaning tables, and scrambling for night shifts just to earn an extra 20 yuan in overtime pay. Yao's restaurant never turned away such workers. To them, employees, whether full-time or part-time, were just cheap labor. Work if you want, leave if you don't. The entire downtown's dining scene is practically dominated by 2 major players, my family's Wenjia Catering and Yaoji Catering. Even the mightiest hero can be brought low by lack of money. Ian Jemming finally realized how tough making a living truly was. What else could he do? He had to pour more hours into side gigs. Even after his mom's hospital discharge, daily expenses kept piling up. Though the community offered regular assistance, His stubborn pride made him accept help inconsistently. He needed to prove to childhood friend Lu Junjun that his mother could rely on her now, just as Lu could in the future. Unfortunately, Lu Junjun could only respond with a helpless expression while chopping peppers behind the glass display case. 8 months passed like this, and we had entered the final sprint phase of the college entrance exams. 8. My grades had consistently remained in the top 3 of my class and top 10 in my grade level. Meanwhile, Yin Jiaming had become the bottom-ranked student in both our class and the entire grade. The homeroom teacher refused to believe his star student could become the class underachiever. In his eyes, high school was when male students' academic abilities shone brightest. He'd always cite how the top Gaokao scorers from the past 2 years were both boys, but whether the top scorers male or female, they all have to put in the hours, studying, reviewing, practicing, memorizing, and testing, right? Oh, over these 8 months, Yin Jiaming has skipped nearly 200 classes. With over 100 mock exams skipped and so little time and effort invested in studying, is it any surprise he ranked at the bottom? That's why the homeroom teacher kept lamenting Yin Jiaming's situation, even suggesting he repeat a grade. Yin refused calmly, explaining how his mother had fallen during home rehabilitation last month. By the time he returned from night shift, she'd passed away. Now he could finally focus on himself and his studies. The teacher's heart ached seeing Yin's sunken eyes and acne-ridden face, no longer the handsome boy he once was. She urged him to study hard, hoping he could catch up and give his all for the college entrance exams. Yin Jiaming nodded with a vicious glare. His expression screamed he could skin someone alive without breaking a sweat. But when the college entrance exam results came out, reality hit him and his homeroom teacher hard. My Gaokao score this time was 300 points higher than Yin Jiaming's. Meanwhile, just like we'd toasted over hot pot, Li Shui and I both ranked top 3 in our grade. She became the city's top scorer in Chinese while I aced math, and coincidentally, the overall municipal champion happened to be another girl. Both Li Shui and I submitted our applications on time, enrolling in different top-tier universities nationwide. Yin Jiaming's scores, however, only qualified him for a local vocational college. Great. Now he could not only wash dishes with his childhood sweetheart Lu Junjun at the same restaurant, but also attend vocational college together, graduating to sell roasted sweet potatoes on the street if she was willing. Clearly, Lu Junjun wasn't interested. After receiving her vocational school acceptance letter, she chose to work in Hong Kong instead. She claimed education was pointless for girls, better to capitalize on youth as a fresh-faced model. Then enroll in socialite training after making money. Maybe she'd even land a D-list celebrity husband. Yin Jiaming, she'd already written him off completely. In their past life, Yin Jiaming spent the hefty tutoring fees my family paid him on luxury gifts for her, yet she rejected him for lacking time to accompany her, only to turn around and date the school bully instead. This lifetime, with all the time in the world to wash dishes and share corncobs with her at the diner. She suddenly realized love alone couldn't fill an empty stomach. She decided Yin couldn't provide for her financially, refusing to endure another lifetime of predictable hardship. Wanting it all yet getting nothing. Neither version of Yin Jiaming across lifetimes could ever satisfy her demands, so she mocked Yin Jiaming as a stupid, ugly fool in his current state. Soon, this fool was arrested by the police. Yin Jiaming was arrested after neighbors reported him for murdering his own mother. 9. 3 months prior, Yin Jiaming returned home, first feeding his bedridden mother millet porridge before mercilessly smothering her with a pillow as she rested. Mrs. Yin struggled with all her might, begging for mercy. But Yin Jiaming coldly ignored her pleas, only releasing the pillow when her breathing stopped. An hour later, he staged the scene. He faked his mother's death as a fall from her wheelchair, scattering kanji around the area. He rushed out for his night shift. And upon returning home the next morning, he found his mother's body already stiff before calling emergency services. When paramedics arrived, they confirmed his mother's death and explained that handling deceased cases fell outside their jurisdiction. Yin Jiaming needed to contact funeral services instead. This way, Yin Jiaming avoided a post-mortem examination for his mother, given their extreme poverty and his mother's long-term paralysis confining her to a wheelchair. A fatal fall wouldn't have been surprising, but I remember it all. Ever since my rebirth, I've never forgotten my vengeance. To make Yin Jiaming suffer, I merely forced him to face his dire reality, and his vicious nature gradually surfaced. Killing his own mother was his choice. I simply had him watched, became his neighbor, and documented his crime on video. Now he can't even get into that vocational college he always looked down on, in his previous life. He claimed to despise wealthy families like ours, yet had no qualms about enjoying the privileges and money we provided. This allowed him to devote himself entirely to studying and self-improvement after losing his father, and to afford the best medical treatment for his mother with our family's money. Then he got into a top-tier university, yet he still resented me for ruining his love life. How ironic. He could have refused all the privileges my family offered, so why didn't he, after killing me? He scoured every prestigious campus until he found a girl who resembled Lu Junjun. He pursued her as a stand-in, desperate to fulfill his obsessive, unrequited love. Perhaps fate has a soft spot for those who are wild and shameless. Even after my death, Yin Jiaming continued to amass wealth and love without end, yet it's so unfair to good people, always exploited and used, whether they're poor or rich, healthy or ill. So remember, folks, don't be too kind-hearted in this world. Nice guys finish last, may be an old saying, but it's the hard truth. In this second life, I refuse to play the saint, starting with myself. What comes next will be an even more spectacular revenge operation, clearing blocked channels with style. After all, we're just getting started with Phase 2, making Yin Jiaming's life a living hell. The Golden September. 10. While Li Shui and I were attending classes, joining clubs, and competing in debates at Beijing universities, Yin Jiaming was detained in our city's prison and later stood public trial. During the first trial, he suddenly retracted his initial guilty plea after refusing to accept the life sentence verdict. With tears streaming down his face, he denied all charges, first claiming the neighbor's video evidence was doctored to frame him. He then claimed he had been coerced into a false confession at the police station. Later, he gave inconsistent statements with shifting details in an attempt to exonerate himself. For instance, he mentioned a movie where a long-term caregiver suffocated their terminally ill family member with a pillow before committing suicide. He admitted considering the same act but ultimately couldn't bring himself to do it. He skipped classes day and night to work multiple jobs just to give his mother a better life. How could he possibly kill his own mother? With such a bright future ahead, why would he throw it all away? He may admit he's not exceptional, but he's undoubtedly kind-hearted. He wouldn't even dare to kill a chicken. When he saw his mother confirmed dead, he actually felt a sense of relief too. It had all been so exhausting. He added that Mrs. Yin must have felt the same relief. Patients get worn out too, and now she could join his father. For the 3 elements of conviction, we currently only have witness testimony and physical evidence, and his mother's body had long been cremated. An autopsy cannot be performed either. The case cannot be filed without Yin Jiaming's confession. The investigation had to be suspended. By this point, the incident had already sparked heated discussions online. This is textbook malignant narcissism, antisocial, histrionic, full-blown NPD, spitting image of that notorious Lao Moji case. Even the excuses are identical. As Yin Jiaming's high school classmate, it's heartbreaking. He was truly exceptional back then, top-tier looks and brains, but life dealt him a cruel hand. Crushing poverty, his father's death, his mother's illness, it all derailed him. Poverty doesn't justify murder. By that logic, half the world's killers should walk free. Let's not forget, Yin and his mom received substantial aid after his dad died. He chose this path. The real victim here is his murdered mother. The second-hand embarrassment is unreal. Pulling a courtroom U-turn. If the appeal upholds the verdict, prosecutors will nail him for obstruction. Unless this is a wrongful conviction, well, grab your popcorn. For the sake of giving netizens a good show, and frankly for my own peace of mind, I can't stand Yin Jiaming using lies to weasel out of responsibility. I'll make his life a living hell. So I made my move. I bribed someone to give money to the family of Brother Wang, a lifer who killed under duress, so he'd take care of Yin Jiaming inside. There's an unspoken rule among inmates: everyone asks how you ended up inside. Rapists, child abusers, those who harmed family members, and snitches usually get rough treatment from fellow inmates, but someone's gotta start it. Yin Jiaming's matricide conviction already made him unpopular with the prison population. He actually retracted his confession during the trial, trying to weasel out of the charges. Upon hearing the news, Brother Wang, who'd been serving a life sentence with no evidence to overturn his conviction, vented his pent-up rage on Yin Jiaming with brutal force, and so, during yard time, Yin Jiaming found himself inexplicably buried alive. While sleeping, Yin Jiaming was suddenly beaten black and blue, then had his mouth forcibly filled with urine. During meals, his food would get snatched by fellow inmates within minutes. Each time he refilled his bowl, it'd be stolen again, leaving him perpetually hungry. At first, he'd report these incidents to the guards, but each complaint only earned him worse beatings. This vicious cycle repeated endlessly, day after day. He endured 68 days of relentless torment before the second trial commenced. During the appeal hearing, His psychological defenses collapsed. He finally confessed to murdering his biological mother in gruesome detail, pleading only for a prison transfer should he receive a life sentence. The presiding judge sternly responded that given his prior retractions demonstrating poor remorse, coupled with the substantial public resources expended on his case, the appellate verdict might not deliver a life sentence. Upon hearing this, Yin Jiaming collapsed to the floor in terror, passed out. In November, Beijing had its first heavy snowfall. 11. Li Shui and I originally planned to book tickets for the Forbidden City to take photos and check in, but unfortunately, there were too many people making reservations, and by our turn, the tickets were already sold out. So we ended up enjoying Peking duck at a restaurant across from the Forbidden City while watching the snowfall. Halfway through our duck and milk tea, we heard the final verdict on Yin Jiaming's case. Yin Jiaming received a death sentence with a 2-year reprieve. Before I could react, Li Shui cut in angrily. Isn't a suspended death sentence just a free pass to live? Yin Jiaming murdered his own mother. It's the same as that Wu guy's case. What's next? Life imprisonment followed by sentence reductions. Absolutely unbelievable. Netizens are outraged. Seriously, rumor has it Yin got leniency because his father was a firefighting hero, but his mother was his dad's lawful wife. This monster killed his own family. How is this acceptable? For society's safety, I beg you, if Yin isn't executed immediately, copycat crimes will follow. Countless imitators will endanger ordinary citizens. At this rate, who dare have kids? Raising children won't even secure your old age, let alone protect you from being murdered. Soon we'll probably see this question on Jihu. What does it feel like to be killed by your own child? Top comment. Ask me again after I get murdered. Right now I'm just focused on survival and self-defense. Second comment. Hard agree. Plus 10,086. I finished my milk tea and said to Li Shui with a smile, don't worry, he'll die. Even the heavens can't stand his wickedness. Xiaohu bot prevents document forgery. For bookfinding bots, choose Xiaohu, reliable heavy checkmark and scam-free, because I'll make sure of it myself. Li Shui prayed, bless him, bless him. Within half a year, Yin Jiaming assaulted a fellow inmate, committing intentional battery. Under China's suspended death penalty system, this new crime triggered immediate execution. Why did Yin Jiaming deliberately assault his cellmate? Maybe he'd had enough of the provocation and torment. Or maybe he just felt like killing someone, just like how he brazenly murdered his own mother, just like how he killed me in our past life. Whether in this life or the last, he's always been rotten to the core. It's just that, in this lifetime, he deserved to die. He owed repayment for all the sins he committed. During my last hotpot gathering with Li Shui this year, we heard the news that Yin Jiaming had been executed. Rumor has it he didn't die well. He rejected lethal injection and opted for execution by firing squad. During the execution, he attempted to flee and was riddled with bullet holes. Also heard a juicy piece of gossip. 1 week before his execution was finalized, Yin Jiaming requested a visit from Lu Junjun, offering to transfer his family's old apartment to her, whether she chose to live there or sell it. He hoped to provide some material compensation, his way of making amends for failing to give her the life she deserved 2 years prior. What a drama queen, even on death's door, still playing the love-struck fool, utterly ridiculous, but Lu Junjun refused visitation rights, even privately cursing Yin Jiaming as a jinx, because Lu Junjun had already cemented her place in socialite training camp, ready to bag a male celebrity any moment. Why would she give a damn about a murderer's house? We exchanged knowing smiles and raised our bubble tea in celebration. Then came the new toast. Li Shui prayed devoutly. Thank you to myself for surviving another year safely and diligently. Thank you for living in a society where justice prevails, laws are established, enforced, and strictly upheld. And an early thank you for next year. It will surely be a year of national prosperity, peace, and bountiful harvests for our country. I also offered my blessings. Soon after, he earned 10 million, unfinished. Thank you for the coming year granting my parents health and safety, allowing them to retire early and enjoy their golden years traveling. I'm also grateful to the system for this second chance at life. I hope next year I can become a showcase example of its success. After all, I've flawlessly completed my post-rebirth mission. System Shoutao seemed to hear my blessings, sending me this year-end report titled Post-Rebirth Vengeance Breast Health Unclogging Annual Review on New Year's Eve. Dear Reborn One, Wen Yujia, greetings. 12. This year, you protected yourself and your breast health 789 times, walking on the right side of roads, not using phones at crosswalks, seeking prompt treatment for winter rashes with VC supplements, and resting during fevers with 4 drips. Most commendably, you evaded murderer Yin Moming's plot through foresight and distance. denying him any opportunity to harm you. You rejected 457 instances of emotional blackmail. Ignoring your high school teacher's guilt-tripping donation demands, as firmly as refusing last year, filming and reporting entitled parents when their kids cut cues, and refusing free meal demands from college classmates at your family restaurant. Outstanding work. Keep it up. This year, your longest-standing commitment, telling people off. Before, your insults might have been petty, but this year every person you cursed absolutely deserved it. Remember December 20th. That special day when the person who ruined your past life finally got their comeuppance. You celebrated with 2 hot pot feasts, gave thanks to yourself and the universe, then cried yourself to sleep at midnight. I know those tears were for every grueling day of your rebirth revenge. I know you feared this might all be a dream. I know you worried moaming might harm your parents and friends because of you. When justice was finally served that night, you sobbed with joy and disbelief. From now on, remember to thank yourself daily. You're incredible. You fought free from that toxic parasite, just like you said. You saved your life and kept your sanity intact. You're truly remarkable. Unofficial stats show your college prep marathon, 307 extra exam papers, 99 recitations of the obscure Chusher Biao, 66 sleepless nights, under desk mate Li Shui's influence, 33 bubble teas, 88 hot pot meals, 16 barbecue outings, 100 sausage and pork cold noodles. You swore off junk food 123 times. Your longest streak lasted 1 pathetic week. This year, through your actions, you've learned how to practice kindness while guarding against becoming a naive do-gooder, someone who might end up mocked, exploited, or hurt. Kindness means protecting and helping the vulnerable, rescuing stray animals, assisting the elderly or disabled, donating to girls in impoverished regions, or reasonably supporting those around you. But if your capacity is limited, don't blame yourself. Simply avoiding harm to others is its own form of kindness, because beyond external moral pressure, people often impose it on themselves too. For secure document protection, choose Xiao Hu Bot, your reliable bookfinding assistant, stable service, zero hassle, shackled by outdated beliefs, disciplined by unreasonable demands, and constrained by vanity. One must first learn to forgive oneself. Otherwise, in the pursuit of kindness, excess leads to savior complex, meddling in others' karma, disrupting your own energy. At best, you demean yourself. At worst, you court destruction. The end. Your 2023 keyword is unhinged. Keep that passion burning in the days ahead.